Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to your monthly edition of the Gimmick wrestling show on the GeekVerse channel, breaking everything down of the past month of wrestling. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so that's why I'm talking fast. But I'm the Canadian Nightmare, Tress Snail. I'm joined by Sbubbs, who has no nickname. So is this on purpose? Are you like staying?
I had lots of options, but I forgot to write any of them down. So I guess we'll just be Sbubbs for now.
That's fair. The true inform. And then we're joined live from the Shark Cage. David, how's it going tonight?
I'm good. I'm loving these early ending pay-per-views or premium live events. I'm all here for it.
Oh, I know. I still because what is it? AEW is still around. I still call them like paper because there's still a pay-per-view that exists and everything. So it's tough for me. And even then, like PLE, I have not learned. The words,
I was gonna say once they come to Max, but no, they'll still have to pay for them. So
yeah,
you can't call them. You can't call them.
Technically,
PLE.
I'm still paying for Peacock, so that's pay.
But that's your premium live event, right? It's not a pay-per. I guess it's like a pay-per-view. I'm not sure, but as of right now, I'm just using The Rock as the thumbnail. I can't find a great photo. You people on the internet, stop sharing like 720 photos. You know, like come on now. But yeah, we got lots to talk about.
Rock main evented just to raise the eyebrow.
Oh, we'll get in that because I feel like this one there's lots of stuff that we did. We talked about some predictions. We're going to be the rundown is we're going to talk about Bad Blood first, and we're going to talk about other tangential WWE things, the NXT debut, and then we're going to talk about the Vince stock for a little bit. Then we'll talk about some AEW. But there's going to be lots of just hot takes and free agency, of course. Lots of hot takes in the middle of it. Try and get rid of this fucking mint. So I'm going to start with you, Sbubbs. We're going to go to the main event first. I'm also going to pull up The Rock's promo because I've not watched it. So we're going to watch it live on air.
I want to see like the end of it, and he didn't really say anything.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
So I think this might be a classic. It was a classic Rock. Like I'm the final boss, and I'm the boss, and everyone calls me the boss, and no one's the boss but me. And he just said, "If you smell," and drove away.
Okay. I thought it was going to be something a bit more because he was like,
I don't know what he said at the start. I caught it I saw it started like as soon as he walked backstage. When I caught it, he was already like by the production trucks, like getting into a car. So
yeah, because at first the first beginning, he's like, "Am I happy about this? Am I mad? Am I sad? Am I down the middle?" I don't know. I'm sure if there's going to be anything of note, we'll find it by scoopers and everything like that. But Sbubbs, we're going to talk about that main event first because it's the hot button topic. But overall of the show, what do you think before we get into the main event and match by match and stuff like that? What do you think of Bad Blood returning the first time since I think it's 05, right? That was the last one. I think I don't think there wasn't one in 06.
No, there was definitely. Or actually, no, I'm not sure.
I think because 04. Actually, I don't know if it's because 03 was Nash and Hunter, and then 05 was HBK and Triple H, which we talked about a couple months ago, where people said that ruined wrestling for a while.
2004 is the last one.
Okay, yeah, that was people joke that they say they killed the Bad Blood pay-per-view. I will be here to remind you again. Great match. Don't listen to everybody. You know, I gotta go. What's I haven't what is the site called again? Sbubbs Letterbox. Dropkick. I'm gonna go on there and drop a fucking. I'm gonna watch it soon this weekend. Drop a great rating and let people know.
I can look up if it has a rating and see what it is.
Oh yeah, I'm sure people just bombed it, but I love that match. So yeah, it has been literally 20 years since we got a Bad Blood pay-per-view. So actually, I'll throw David first because Sbubbs doing some investigating on the numbers there. So David, what do you think about the event overall before we talk about the main event and other stuff happening?
I would say overall it was a great pay-per-view. There were one or two beats that didn't quite hit, but overall, like it started just straight fire out the gate, and then it ended with a good match and a shocking, not so shocking return. So I'm here for it. Two shocking, not so shocking returns. So yeah, now Pop H is out here delivering.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, we'll later on talk about the historic event as well. But that's what I was trying to say. There's lots of hot takes I already see on the internet, and that's wrestling in general.
The rating for that.
Okay, what's the rating?
Well, guess what it is. I guess out of 5.
Okay, so out of 5, I'm gonna say it's. Ooh, I was gonna. I would.
There's only 11 people have rated it.
Okay,
so
then I'm gonna say it's under 2.5. I'm gonna say it's a 2.2. That's what I'm gonna say.
It's a 2.8.
Yeah, okay. So it's at least a pass.
Two people have given it 5 stars.
Listen,
and the rest are under 3.5.
Okay, so I haven't watched it in a while, but I would at least give it a 4. I liked the drama. They even shout out tonight that it was like the longest Hell in a Cell or something like that.
The most liked review of it says it's too long, but it's what the rivalry deserved.
It's a fucking DX everything there, and I do get it. There's one shot where they're on the mat. There's just dead for like 3 minutes, but we'll move on. We'll debate one day. Maybe we should do a watch along. If there's a slow month, we'll do a watch along and just see. But
45-minute Hell.
Yeah, that'll be one. We'll do part 1 the news, and then part 2 the Bad Blood watch along. But Sbubbs, what do you think of the show?
I'd say overall I enjoyed it. There's definitely some like okay matches, I'd say, in the middle. Mm-hmm. But there were also some matches that I think I liked more than most people online, it seems like.
Yeah, I saw you had a Nia Jax defender over here.
But overall, yeah, I liked it. I think the tag match was like, it was weird. I don't know if I didn't dislike it, but I don't know if I really loved it at any point. But I thought it was enjoyable, and it was just like it was just like hot tag, then just like work the corner, and then hot tag. Since both of them can get the hot tag pop, it was just cycling between them for a while. But I like the whole Jimmy return. I'm kind of interested in this trio. I didn't think there would ever be a Cody, Roman, Jimmy trio seemingly facing maybe The Rock and Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa at some point.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But I'm interested to see where it goes. And overall, well, great start to the show, obviously, with the first match.
Another big debate this weekend of what should have gone. A lot of politicking debates going on right now.
I saw someone say if this show could have been in reverse, which I think might have worked.
It's tough because like I agree and don't agree. So we had talked about this in the Discord. Join our Discord. We're always talking wrestling. I said like memeing, but I still believe it. I was like, I don't believe Roman's not main event in this pay-per-view. You know, like I just had in my book, like especially with Punk, especially like, and I don't care what people say. It was less than 2 years ago when Roman shit talked and was like, yeah, I don't like that guy. He made it really hard for me. He like. The shirt needle mover was based off of like his feud with CM Punk while he was at AEW, not even while he was in the company. So there was no way like, oh, what? Yeah, Punk's going on last. Like I could just see Roman, and even then, like I do get it because people have, that's the other meme, right? Of all Punk in 2011, so the champ should go on last. I do believe that as well. I was very salty. I did not like the entrances. I did not like that Cody. It's just a minor thing, but I hated that Cody came out first. He's the champion. He should be like, I don't care about the band, whatever. They can set them all up. So anyways, we'll get in that when we get in the match. But yeah, the show overall, I think if you reverse it, because, that's what we're talking about. It's tough because I was fully on board that, okay, whatever, Cody Roman, I get it, his hometown, the champ. But if you're talking about the hype level for the matches, I see why Hell in a Cell, and yes, definitely was the better match. Like, spoilers for my thoughts there. But I thought, okay, if Rock's going to come back, it's going to be like how in, 03, I guess, when KO and Roman Reigns main evented Rumble, and it was just to do the whole Sammy angle, right?
I was going to say, like CM Punk, not that this was planned out that far ahead, but like having a great ending, like The Rock coming out, sometimes like people forget about some, like people remember Punk returning at Survivor Series. I don't think they remember that Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar was like an 8-minute match at Survivor Series that same night.
And I think like with the Punk thing though, that's a little different because like that was his jump from AEW. I thought, okay, Rock should be last because it's The Rock, but I thought there was going to be more to it. I thought there was going to be some stuff, and the thought that like The Rock I feel a little bad for the crowd because that does suck. Of like, you got to see The Rock, but you saw The Rock, especially if you don't have a monitor, you can't. He's just standing there straight. And especially when he was doing his fingers, I was like, oh, fuck, something huge is like, there's going to be a turn, like another something.
I was thinking
like for the screen
I thought when he put like 1 and then he put 4, I was like, are 4 more Samoan people going to run out?
Oh, Rikishi's back, yeah.
I don't know, I thought like he's like 1, like, okay, obviously that's him, and then he's like 4, I'm like, 4 people, like I was expecting, and then they played, I think he did the 4 and they played his music again.
Yes.
Like he was leaving, but I thought that was like someone else. Like these 4 people are coming out.
Me
right
too.
now.
Especially because I feel like the lights like went before the music, so it's like, oh shit, like something. I even thought it was gonna be something.
Like they started his music like already on like the guitar part, so it didn't sound like the
Yeah. I thought there was a chance when he did the countdown. I thought it would have been great ending if Jimmy fucking super kicked Roman, and it would have been like, oh my god,
because he was he was standing like behind them.
Yeah, and he was so overly like, I love you, Uso. Like, we gotta help him. Like, he was so.
I love you so much.
Yeah, and like Heinz, who's in the chat, he's gonna listen to more. He messaged me. He's like, "What the fuck's up with Jimmy?" Because like, it is true. Before I didn't mean to cut you off, David, but like before I forget this, it's like Jimmy Uso. You get the pop, it's hype, but he's been one of the worst booked characters since SummerSlam of last year. He turned on his brother. It made no sense. They never made sense because he was the guy saying like, "Hey, Roman's an asshole. We shouldn't work with him." And then he turned on Jay, and now this guy who's been abused for years, he just go. It's Stockholm syndrome. He goes right back to Roman. So that's why I thought, oh, this could make sense if he kicks him, and then Cody's shocked. The other Bloodline people come back and Rock beats them up. So the long point is that's why I do think Hell in a Cell probably should have been invented because we didn't get a big angle. It's just Rock's back, which is cool, big pop. But if there would have been like the Bloodline turns on Sami Zayn, like they turn on Roman, Cody, beat him down, then it's like, okay, that's an angle, that's hot. But just for The Rock to come out, it's like cool. But again, I feel bad for the live crowd that even though like the lights didn't go out and he didn't talk after, like you just see him walk out and then walk away. It's like, all right, like I don't know. I guess you got to see The Rock, but not really. Like you saw him from afar for a few minutes. He raised his eyebrow and left, and it's like, oh, yeah.
I thought that with his whole hand movement thing, it was going to be Seth with the Shield all over again. Like that was going to be Jimmy's turn. Like he was motioning for Jimmy to pull, and it was going to be one more time when Roman takes the chair to the back, and he was going to align with the
and
new
you could have
bloodline.
set that up too. You could have had Jimmy run around, get the chair to fight off the old bloodline or the new bloodline, and have that chair.
I thought something was going on. I thought the Tron was going to change something. You just did and I'm like, oh, okay, that was it.
Yeah,
and then they restarted his music, and I'm like, cool.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I said to Heinz, that what they're going to do is now it's going to be a few weeks because I guess it's tough for me to ask this, but I feel like they're going to do a few weeks of who is The Rock with, right? Is he with Roman? Is he with the bloodline? Does he have his own bloodline? But what I was going to ask is, like, is Rock wrestling at Survivor Series? Because I feel like he has to now with him coming back now, right? Like, it would feel weird for him to be back and then what, on SmackDown, come back and be like, I'm watching and I'll be back again one day. It's like, that's just a waste. I feel like
he has to be in this War Games.
Yeah.
So he can come out last. Like,
make him last.
If you're the heel team and you're last, like, you're coming out like 45 minutes in.
Oh, yeah, he's standing there and you can see him.
That was Randy Orton last year. Like, he did his 5 moves and then just, like, got the pin.
Yeah,
so
and The Rock can come in when everyone's like
bottom on everyone, people's elbow, get the pin.
He can come in when a bunch of people are laid out, so he can get his belt and whip a bunch of people. The babyface make a little bit of a comeback because, like, I thought for sure that Solo and Jacob were gonna win. I do think if The Rock wasn't here, they would win, but because now The Rock is back, I think they have to. It's odd to say that the OG bloodline is gonna lose them, but I feel like if The Rock with them loses, like, this thing is just, it's really done. Like, it's just like there's not, like, especially if Rock, whoever he versus at WrestleMania, Cody or Roman, he's gotta be strong. He can't lose at War. And not that he would take the pin. Don't get me wrong. Like fucking Tonga Loa is taking the pin.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah,
Rock
but like
takes the pin to like Jimmy Uso.
Yeah, and then after he gets the mic and he's like, "This is my last match. I just wanted to go out on my shield." Like, he just completely baby faces everybody. But yeah, I feel like now he has to be at Survivor Series, and I again, it's going to be interesting because now I think we got, new bloodline plus Rock, and then you're going to have Jimmy, Roman, Cody, and Jay. And I think, to me, you got to get Sammy because I don't care that he's not a, bloodline, like by blood. He was just as important as the rest of them. So like that 5-on-5.
Something very important just happened on Twitter. Let me put it in the Discord.
CM Punk's on the press conference. He's bitching Rock out. No.
Look at what I just sent here. It's the video.
Oh, in the Discord? Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Kevin just turned on Cody outside? What, he beat him up outside?
Yeah, he just
hang on, I'm going to screen share this.
Yeah, play it.
He just okay. So this is fucking. That's interesting. I'm not like opposed to it because like that's some creative like tackle in the parking lot. But like, did he just attack him, or were they having a discussion that he attacked him?
I'm seeing the thumbnail here. I guess it just
okay, it's coming up. I got the
It
screen.
was kind of loud because I heard people screaming. So be careful with the volume. Oh,
yeah. That is a cool angle, dude. So here, I'll full screen it. There we go. So you got Kevin Owens. He's snapping.
Stomping out Cody.
Yeah. Fuck, Cody needs to get away from this bus. The Rock attacks him there. It's like the NXT parking lot. Like Cody's bus is a dangerous zone. But okay, I don't mind this because it's cool. Gets them to trend. It's something that it's like they'll on SmackDown they'll have an actual camera guy footage of it, right? Where like everything, and I'm interested to see like, did he just attack him? Was there God, he's gonna trash. Was there like a discussion that he attacked him? But this fits with Kevin Owens' character because I could be wrong.
With Jimmy, like if he's like, oh, you're making friends with just some other guy.
True,
we were fighting.
That's what KO's driving. What the fuck? Good for him. But
I know, right?
I was like, is that when he walked past, I was like, is that like the Rock's car or something? Yeah.
The Rock gifted it to him, like, can you take out Cody for me, KO? You know, you're Canadian.
Imagine Cody, KO on Team Rock and
yeah, it's a whole bunch of mix, but
he's speeding off.
Yeah,
and
so
Cody's getting beat while Triple H is in the middle of talking about black representation on WWE PLEs, and you kill our black savior. How dare you?
The guy holding the banner for the Black Community in Wrestling.
He had an HBCU band come out and do his intro, and then you have him get beat down like this.
I don't know what people are talking about, saying Snoop Dogg's last black man to win on TV. No, Cody, he's carrying that banner. He's the guy. But no, that's interesting. I like that, and I guess I'm curious to see, did they have a discussion before? Or did he just attack him? And to go to the NXT parking lot meme, I could be wrong. Someone can correct me. But I think that started with Kevin Owens when he attacked Hideo Itami. I think that was the first time it ever happened, and they never revealed it. They never paid it off. But like Kevin Owens has attacked people in parking lots before. So, yeah. So that's where it's interesting because now you have, we're going to talk about the Crown Jewel stuff, but we'll leave that. Cody's busy there. So I guess maybe Cody isn't gonna be in the War Games match. Maybe it is just gonna be the 4-4 of Roman, Jay, and I just thought the reason Cody would be there because he would be the guy. Because I could see Sammy and Jay not wanting anything to do with Roman and Jimmy, and vice versa, right? And Cody's like the bridge in the middle that gets them all together. But now if he's fighting KO at Survivor Series, maybe, and it's in Canada too, that's interesting. You're kind of putting Cody in a tough spot there because KO is supposed to be a heel. I kind of actually hope they don't do it at Survivor Series now. I hope they hold off and maybe like KO like does some shenanigans during War Games, like attacks him or something, because I feel like KO, if you're trying to push him as a heel, his first title match as a heel should not be in his home country where he's just going to get cheered out the ass. But I don't know. That's interesting. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking for the start of the KO and Cody thing, but I don't really see. Like all I see is the fight, and I see that photo that's them like talking, but I don't know where that's from. So I'm looking for it.
So then, David, what do you think is the Bloodline War Games match? Is Cody in it? Is it Cody not? He's with KO. What do you think is? Because a second ago I would have said 100%, but now this development. So where are you? Hot moment right now.
I think that it's not going to involve Cody. Cody's now out of that match. He's going to go and work a program with KO now, which makes sense because I was thinking after this match, like, where do you go with Cody until everything is back on track with the Bloodline? Like, he needs to take a step back from that and let them do their thing. So now we got to see, okay, so we've got Roman with Jimmy. They're going to need two more on their side, which now we start looking at Hakuleo and bringing in somebody else. Now this is when we start bringing more people in.
Roman, you don't think they'll just get Jay and Sam? Like, Jay for sure is getting back with them because people are even chanting yeet during this. And I was like, no, man. Like, Jay's coming out for nobody. They chant yeet during Damien's match, nothing. Chant for Rhea, nothing. Chant the Bloodline match, he's just at home. No, I ain't interfering with anybody. Fuck y'all, you know?
It's hard to see with Jay. It could go one of two ways. You can either leave him out of it and let him focus on being Intercontinental Champion for a while, do the whole fighting champion over here, or you can bring him in for that moment. It's kind of hard with him being on Raw to get him involved in those storylines.
Yeah.
So, but it could also be a situation where you bring in Hakuleo, you have 3 versus 4. Who's the final one going to be?
Randy
and
Orton.
Then on the night of, you have Jay come, because that's when he finally makes the crossover on the night of who's going to be the last member, and then you can bring him in.
They could do it that way too, where they pitch Jay and he doesn't know, and he is the last member, and he comes in again. That is close to Randy, but that's why I wish but if the tag titles were still cross-branded, you could have Sammy and Jay with those titles, and they'd have a reason to be on SmackDown, right? And then they get cornered. I don't know how, because you're right that they're both on the separate brands. I still think Jay is, to me, 100% lock, and for me, I still think you have to have Sammy, in my opinion. I just think Sammy was so key to because people forget, like, the bloodline was starting to get stale, and then Sammy got in there and he revitalized that whole thing for like a year, and then when he went away, the bloodline got stale again. After they got through with the Jay turn, it was like there wasn't much more to do anymore. So I think that for me, I still think it's somehow Seth and Jay get over there. How? I don't really know right now. I don't have the answer. I don't have the booking window, other than they might just be, oh yeah, Roman shows up on Raw one night and he just talks to them both. So yeah, I need you. And then they're like, oh, I did love the bloodline and I love those merch sales. So I don't know. That's how I think it's going to go. But what about you, Sbubbs? What's the War Games long term? We're a month and a couple of weeks from it. So
War Games, like the teams?
Yeah, the teams, yeah.
I'm not sure yet, really, because I was thinking, like, there was a chance that they might do that, like, with KO and Randy and Cody and Roman. I was thinking that was, like, a possibility before this, because that was something people were theorizing, like, if Jimmy's not coming back. So now I don't really know. I guess it'd be probably 4v. I think last year it ended up being like 5v5. So because it was Judgment Day plus Drew on the
right, it was
team.
Yeah. Okay.
And then,
I'm fine with 5. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it depends on if it's 4 or 5. I feel like I'm not sure, but I was just looking up more of the Cody Kevin stuff while you guys were talking. So I'm not sure what stuff you did or didn't talk about.
Oh yeah, we just still talk about this so far. So we haven't moved past that. But yeah, So tag match, I thought it's exactly what the meme was, right? For Hell in the Cell is like either match tonight versus Aura match. And it was that. It was a lot of the cinema type of wrestling. I think this was fine. It is tough when you had the Cell earlier, because quality match wise, the Cell definitely should have went on last, but they bloodline champ, I get it. But yeah, I think it was good. Just never kicked into. I think they should have maybe had it. It's weird because with WrestleMania, I didn't like that it was bloodline rules or whatever, the no DQ, and they just went out to the crowd. But I think this match maybe needed that a bit more, because I still want to see more of like
that WrestleMania match, like the or what do you mean, like the
tag match?
Yeah, it was a normal match. It was just
Rock
The Rock
did the whole,
said he would fire the referee.
Yeah. But either way, they like that. I didn't think that match actually needed to have that. Where this match, I think a few more bells and whistles could have, more of the street fight could have benefited. I still think it was like a solid match. Like I think I'd give it like, I don't know, like a 3.25. Like it's like, okay, that's a good main event. It has your moments. I think Cody and Roman were both great. They had lots of looks at each other, little stuff like when they're talking about who's going to start the match. If you could see Roman's lip, he said, "Oh, you're the champ," which I hate that Cody went first, because to me that's like they used to. It's little stuff, but they used to do that shit to Punk, and it just, for me, it always just shows like, yeah, it's like Roman's still like the guy in their minds. I still think they think that, even though, well, maybe TKO and some people think that. I think Triple H is full like, no, Cody's my guy, but it's an interesting dynamic. So I'll wait to see when they have an actual rematch and who comes out. But I thought they had great isms. Roman looked like $1 million. That man has been putting in the work. He looked like a comic book illustration. When he took his shirt off, I could not believe, and everything. And like I said in the Discord, it's not a body shaming thing. I just think that in AEW, when they first started, Cody decided to be a bit more of a heavyweight. I think he should do that a little more, especially he's going to be in there. Rock, like, he was just looking a little smaller next to them, and especially Roman. I think like get a few of those pounds back from AEW just to look a tad more just immeasurable to them, but I get it. Cody's the wily veteran and he has all these tricks and everything, but I thought it was a solid match, but I would never I'll never rewatch this match. I would have no reason to tune into this again, and even if I watched the whole pay-per-view start to finish, which I don't think I did. I didn't even say about the whole pay-per-view. I liked it. I think the middle kind of slogged. I think there's one match in particular that wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, and then there's one that had a screwy finish, which we all knew. And I also thought the historic announcement too was like, for me, there's some cool stuff too, but I think they build it up way too much. Just say, hey, it was the Tony Khan thing. Just say Triple H has an announcement. Yeah. And a historic announcement. Okay, these two guys are going to wrestle and win a trophy? No, man.
When I saw the title was under, I was like, are they bringing back the meme that people joke about that Braun Strowman never defended his greatest Royal Rumble?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't we already have one of these belts?
I thought for sure, I put in the Discord when I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's going to be the women's title. I thought, they've been talking about it. They're going to do a tournament, and the final's going to be at Crown Jewel, and that's the way, because they're always trying to say they're trying to be more inclusive with women in Crown Jewel. And what a way, like, we're going to crown the first ever women's secondary title at Crown Jewel and everything. But it wasn't. It was just Triple H being like, it is 24,000 cold Garrett diamonds. It's like these guys aren't keeping this title. It's not like, here, Gunther, you won. This is yours forever now. And
this is going in the vault.
Yeah, it has no significance other than you beat them. It is bragging rights. It's the old Survivor Series. So I think the card ended well, and I agree to the second match as well. When we get there, was really good. So I think it was like if it's like a letter grade, I think it was like a B for me, like a solid B. I was gonna say B plus, but that might be too high. So it was still a good show overall. I think it moved very well. The main event took a little longer, but we knew it was gonna go that route. But is there anything specifically on the Rock or the main event? Any spots? Sbubbs, you liked Cody's salute when he took himself.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he did the same thing that Jacob Fatu did to him.
Risky.
There was like a pen on the table. I was scared. It was like they knocked everything off, and there was like, let someone just get stabbed by this pen that's still on the table.
That's how Cody goes out. Yeah, pierced bicep, and he's out for a little bit. But no, I'm never a fan of Cody doing those spots, because especially even with the cage when he did that at the SmackDown, I was like, obviously he didn't do the moonsault, but I was like, man, you're the top guy, like. Don't do it.
You're the champion.
He landed like bad on that one, on the one off the cage.
It's like they're still gonna love you no matter what. But and that's so for me again. We end with the Rock and everything like that. I think it was a good pop, a great pop, a good moment. I wish there was an actual story built to it. They're gonna use more, but I still think I'm in the camp of Rock and Roman at Mania. Not that I don't want Rock and Cody. I think that's maybe the direction they're going to go, but especially with KO attacking him, it's like I feel like that there's other directions for Cody to go, and I think there's other people. I'm not as mad, but there's tons of Cody fans that are just kind of done with him and the bloodline stuff. They want to see it moved on, and I think he's always going to be tied to that though, because that's how he won the title. But for me, it's like the trajectory is there of Cody with KO. Fuck, I don't know if I want to pitch Randy Orton winning a third Rumble, but hell, have him win a third Rumble, like whatever it may be. Like I still think you can do Cody and Randy at Mania and do Rock and Roman, and like that's perfectly great. Like I'm still more in the Rock and Roman camp, but I don't know. I guess we'll see where they go. I just feel like Roman's story is more about the bloodline, where Cody's getting attacked by buses by his friends. Like,
yeah. Cody's got way of things to do right now. You can circle back to them again Mania season, but for right now, through this winter months, once you're doing your storytelling between now and Royal Rumble, take him away from the bloodline.
Yeah,
you've had your match, you've done your thing. All right, take him away from the bloodline, let them do their thing, and go from there.
But watch Rumble, number 30 is going to be the fucking final boss. He's going to win, and then that's how we get Cody. And like I still think they're going to do Cody and Rock, because I feel like this match, they were really... Not that Meltzer has been on the greatest track record, but he had said, like, well, they now see Fatu and Roman as the money matchup. And for me, in this match, it sure felt like they had a lot of face-offs. They had a lot of, like, breaking them apart, not fighting. It felt like they were saving it. What?
Yeah.
What?
Solo took the pin.
Exactly, right?
Jacob Fatu in the match.
Exactly.
Fatu looked strong from the outside the ring spot, coming in when he's throwing the chairs back and forth. Everything they kept him looking strong. The no selling.
Yeah, they've been doing the
disaster kick.
no selling the head. I was fully expecting him when he did the crossroads on the outside, I was like, he's gonna like get back, and he kind of did. But I was expecting like when he no-sold like Randy Orton's like DDT. Yeah, I was expecting.
May as well. The crossroads, you got to hit it 10 times to beat someone sometimes.
Yeah.
But
well, he's no-sold the disaster kick, and then he popped right back up after getting thrown into the timekeeper's area. So I mean, they left him being super strong.
And again, I'm not saying Roman and Jacob would be a bad match. I'm not saying it won't be like a big match, but I just feel like it's odd to do that before Rock and Roman. I would almost love the reverse of that. Roman beats The Rock, and then Jacob and Roman meet up, and Jacob beats him. And it's like, fuck, man, like Jacob's like, especially because Jacob will be around more. But I feel it's odd if the WrestleMania matchup is Cody and I'm saying this as a Cody stand, Cody and Rock, and then Roman and Jacob. For me, that does feel like I just don't know if Roman Hogan would let that happen. Unless Roman just, hey, I really want to work with Jacob. Like, maybe that's it. But I just feel like that clearly puts you in the number 2 spot, where I feel like Cody and Randy and then Rock and Roman, you're both at A spots. You're the top tier. Sorry, Punk, you're not getting the main event of WrestleMania this year. I know that's everyone's like, that's not happening. I really don't think that's happening. I think you and Seth are going to have a great, like, mid-card match. Like, you could have the match of the night, but I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I really don't this year.
To quote Punk himself, you can main event night 1 of a 4-night spectacular.
Well, yes, and I agree with them. Everyone can say what they want. The real main event is night 2. Seth Rollins can be like, well, I was on an advertised main event. You still were night 1.
The last match, go home, is the main event.
Because like Roman's never worked night 1 like only, right? It's never just been night 1. Yeah. Roman's won it. It's like he's always last. Cody, whoever's W champ, can be always last. Rock gonna be last, because even Rock, okay, he wrestled night 1, but he was back night 2 in the main event. So it's like, and even then, I just don't think Punk would even get night 1 right now. I feel like he's still over. His ratings do super well. I just don't know the trajectory of that. And maybe we could talk about now. We'll talk about unless do you guys have anything else to add on the main event stuff?
Not really.
Okay, let's talk about the cell then. So what would you, Sbubbs, right off the hop, do you got a number floating around for your cell right now? Did it meet your expectations? Because it's been 9-month feud. Obviously, that was the big hubbub of it's not main eventing there. Punk's going to snap again and everything. But, that TBD. But what did you think about the actual match?
I loved it. Like, for me, this would be like a 5-star match. Like, a match that I just really enjoy. Like, it's a match that I know if I watch it again, I'll just like enjoy it the same. That's what I'd give for like a 5-star match for me. Like, it's a match that I could watch many times and it's like, this is great stuff. I thought it was great, and it totally delivered for me.
Got it up there. I wouldn't go 5 stars. It was good. I have in recent years, I have not been as much of a fan of blood in matches, mainly because I think AEW in the last couple of years has overused blood in matches. So it's kind of
Vince over here, It's gratuitous.
It's kind of it's just taking some of the kick out of it.
Yeah. Like WWE hasn't used it in a while, like to this extent, right?
Yes. So I think that in this match it was used very well, and then with the ref like trying to come in and towel them off and all this other stuff, like I think that gave subtle beats to this. Them pushing the ref away, like I don't need you to wipe my face. I just want to beat this guy's ass. Like I don't care about this. I just want to beat his. Like that gave great story beats to it. Man, Drew took some bumps. Punk took some bumps, and I was like, as much as he's like, I'm old, I'm hurt, I'm tired. Like you're taking that table spot like that. Jeez, my guy.
And like half the table didn't like fully, like his legs got like caught on the
both their legs. When they show the replays from both sides, they both kicked up in their leg. It's just like, and even just Drew to lift them that way. I was like, especially Punk in the last 2 years has had multiple injuries that have made him been off for like 6-9 months. Like he's not a spring chicken, and he's had some injuries. So he really went for in this match. I was surprised some of the bumps he was taking.
And Drew on the steel steps. I liked as kind of over the top as the whole I've got a bag full of stuff spot can be. I liked it in this case with the beads and everything and him just pouring it on there. Again, it was just, they were these moments that they have built on that just fit into this match. And so, no, this was, I wouldn't say 5 out of 5, but it delivered for what it was supposed to. they both put on a hell of a show, and I'm like, yeah. And then Punk selling at the end of, yeah, I'm old, I'm hurt, and I'm tired. So him collapsing out of there, he's
oxygen,
like, like, yo.
I had stepped out of the room, and then when I came back, he had that. I was like, oh god, what did I miss? I thought for a second it was his shoot, but then I was like, okay, no. He started talking about it. I was like, oh my geez. But Fanboy Clayton mentioned this. He said, what the hell, turn KO heel off camera. You're gonna get it. Now, granted, I do think you have a point where they do miss out on that pop, right? That pop of the moment in the ring. He turns and that, like, oh my god. So you do have that. I could see maybe them do something. It sounds cheesy, but KO like apologized and said that he snapped, and like and Cody, good guy, forgives him. And then KO, whether he's scheming or he snaps again, I could see them do that. But there is a new angle. I think it's someone that's like in the production that they've posted where it's them. They're just talking before, and then Cody says something that he points out there, and then Kevin Owens like pushes him in the chest, and then he starts to punch him. So I do like, obviously there was that photo, but I do like it shows that, okay, they had an argument or something, not that KO just was waiting in his bus.
I was trying to find like a clip if you could hear them, but obviously like no one's close enough to really see what the. And then there were people going around tweeting like KO hit him with his car. But I think it was like one person saw the car parked and him like attacking him, so they wrote like he hit him with his car and started attacking him, and then other people changed it to like KO hit Cody with the car. Like people started like taking stuff from all.
Turn into Rikishi running over Stone Cold in the Attitude Era to take him out. But yeah, and the audio of that clip I watched, you just hear the crowd, like it's too loud and everything. But they'll have something.
I'm
closer.
Sure they have, one of those.
They're gonna release it. You could see in the reflection of the bus there is the camera with the light there. So this is obviously filmed. It's gonna be released tomorrow during Raw or something. Like, hey, look what happened. Stay tuned. Stay tuned and find out more on Friday. Like they're gonna drop some information
on Raw.
on it.
They could do like show the fan footage, like this happened after the show, and then on SmackDown they have like the actual close up of it.
Our documentary team was behind the scenes, and they can show you this Friday SmackDown. Yeah, no, I think they'll do that. So that's interesting. It's gonna be fun. But no, I think with this Sbubbs on the 5. I think I was there. I've been bitching and moaning the last 2 times. Like, I hate that both matches had shenanigans. I didn't need the what was strap match, and I not hated, but I thoroughly disliked Seth as the referee for the first match. I thought there was always just some sort of gimmick that held them back from having a classic, and I thought this was great. There were spots they were doing that either I haven't seen in WWE or haven't seen in a long time. Like, just Punk it was brutal, but when he took that table leg, and I literally thought McIntyre was gonna fucking lose an eye. Like, he was so close to it. But
he did it hard with the one coming down.
He had a whole bruise on his head after, and just stuff like McIntyre suplexing Punk on a table that's just down with the legs facing up, that suplex spot, the beads, which is funny because everyone thought it was tax, but that was good stuff. So no, for me, I think they have great chemistry. I would not be opposed to them running this back in the future. I still think Drew should have won the series. I still think he should have won the 2 and then Punk get this one. But alas, obviously it sounds like Punk's probably on to Gunther, which will be an interesting thing. We'll talk about Gunther again later, and oh god, the possibility thing they tease with him. But no, I guess that's the thing. Yeah, I definitely understand, David, where the blood comes from, because they, Cody and Dustin brought it back, and then after that, it's like, oh, look at the emotion they got from that match. We should all use blood. But it's like, no, like the blood added to it, but there was more layers to it. And I guess because it's in WWE, I was happy to see how much Drew was bleeding like a MFer there. I'm not sure if it was. I don't know if it was a pack, or I don't know if he was an actual cut, because it kept coming. So that's why I don't know. Didn't think it was a pack. I think they did some blading in his hair, but yeah, there's a lot there.
The supposed report is that like Triple H has been letting people they said poke the blade, like in the cage match with Cody and Solo, like when Cody was bleeding, like after hitting the turnbuckle, he said they'll let people poke the blade just to get a little bit, but apparently he let Cody, Drew and Punk fully blade for this match.
Oh, well, you
supposedly just what happened.
That could make sense, and you just gotta look at the Punk all-in footage when he's under that table, and he'll fucking stab himself, man. He didn't care.
I saw someone post the Punk Jack Perry thing. It's the footage of KO after Bad Blood.
Oh no, But no, I think this was a great ending. I'm very curious what they're going to do with Drew, because he's won the world title and then he lost it. He won Money in the Bank. Like he's done all this stuff where I really don't know what there is not left for him. I think he's the hottest than he's ever been, but I just don't know the trajectory of him. I actually could see him like taking some time off and being gone for like a month or two just to like freshen up, and that's a big deal when Drew McIntyre comes back. I don't know if you can't really run him and Gunther again, and I think Gunther's gonna have that title for a while, so I really don't know. And obviously Punk, like we said, there's rumors of Gunther, so, and he'll be in the Rumble, then they'll eventually get us to Seth. So Punk, I can see his story from November to Mania. Like, we got that clear. Drew, I hope he just doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I hope they always find a place for him. But I thought this was a great match, great feud ender. I'm still wanting to see Seth versus Punk versus Drew in the 3-way. I think there's lots of potential there, but I think they did lots of cool spots. That spot where McIntyre was going for the Claymore and he's supposed to land on the steps, and he did, but he hit the corner. Oh my God, because he did not mean to hit that corner. He was definitely going to land flat back.
Or I forget it in two, but like definitely done that steel steps and like lands on his back with the.
Yes.
I think he did it with like at WrestleMania against Seth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he might have. Yeah.
It was on the table though. But
right.
still,
Okay.
like he's done that spot where he like overshoots and lands on his back. But,
that tailbone. He's getting some bruised stuff. So that's the thing. I guess for me, why I'm happy about it and with the blood and everything is because Hell in a Cell Punk talked about this, like used to mean something, and once the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view started, it hasn't meant something for a long time. I think the last great Cell match was Ambrose, aka Moxley, and Rollins. That was the last time they did some stuff, but even then they couldn't. That was more like a stunt show. They couldn't do the violence, but they wanted to do like, oh, what do we do about this? And here's a different way to do a storyline. And here's a spot here. But since then, Hell in a Cell is just like a bigger cage. So Hell in a Cell should be a feud ender, and it should be this. I'm not saying that everybody needs to bleed, but they should be busted it out here. So I thought they delivered big time. And yeah, for me, this would be a 5-star one. I don't think it's like the greatest Cell match ever, but it is. I'd have to, because at one point I had a ranking. I could see myself, it's probably in the top 10, like maybe more near the bottom, but still it was like, I thought they fully delivered here and told a great story. I love the spot where Drew was pretending to pray and then he low blowed him. And I actually thought when he low blowed him and then hit like the Claymore, I thought it was actually over. I'm like, oh fuck, like they're going to have Drew win this and that's going to be interesting. But no, great job, especially for Punk being injured as long as he was, man, they did a good job. But now, keep him away for a little bit. Keep him away for at least 6 months, I say. They at least for, maybe they'll stare each other down at the Rumble. I'll accept that. Do a Rumble stare down? Sure. But I don't need no Raw matches or tag team matches or anything like that. So I think even then Drew and Seth have unfinished business. Like run that back maybe. So
yeah.
Yeah. Anything else on the picture here? Do you guys have any theories where Drew? I said I don't know. Do you guys have anything where Drew is going, or same thing? You're kind of up in the air on him.
Yeah,
he's gonna go away for a while.
Yeah,
take a break. So. Yeah. I think because what is it? We're in I was gonna say till Rumble, because Rumble's in February. That's probably way too long. I thought, he could return Rumble, but yeah, maybe he'll return the build up to Rumble, and I'm gonna win the Rumble and main event WrestleMania and get what's
maybe
mine.
Come back at like the Netflix Raw.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, he's John Cena's first opponent. And what? Actually, Cena.
That'd be like if you do that as like a first match, like that's a big match, but it's not like like a dream match per se, but it's like this would be like a good Cena match there.
It's not a dream match, but it's something of like the second I heard it, I'm like, oh, I want to see that. I want to see those promos too.
I feel like I can already imagine him like going for the Claymore where Cena picks him up for the AA.
Yeah,
for
sure.
From the corner, yeah.
And like that's one where I could see anybody winning. That's not like the theory thing where like if McIntyre beats Cena, that doesn't hurt Cena. McIntyre's a fucking beast right now. And if Cena beats him, it's like, well, it's on the farewell run. This was 2 months ago. McIntyre said, because I looked, they've never wrestled even when he was like the chosen one. I don't know if I'm figuring into plans, but I guarantee you I'll be pushing and I'll be nudging them left and right to make it happen because the amount of stories I've got about Punk and things that happened when I was younger, I've got tenfold on him. Oh, fuck. I love that. That's cool already. So, yeah, you know what? I'd be down if that was like Cena's first feud. That's a great Netflix match. Main event of Raw Netflix, Cena McIntyre. Absolutely. Book that. Let's do it. So, next we had Nia Jax versus Bayley, which I do have to agree. I was bugging at Sbubbs, but I fully agree that I have to admit it that unfortunately Nia Jax is good now. Like she is now, and because like Sbubbs, we were around the era where she was not only a bad wrestler, but she just hurt people constantly. Like it just felt like a very like, and I don't know the woman backstage. It was just the amount of times it kept happening. It felt like, okay, you don't give a shit about really what's going on, whether it's just because of who you are. And I do think her getting released and coming back has helped. And tonight, this was a really, really good match. That's why I said in the Discord, I was kind of pissed when people were chanting for Tiffy. I was like, Bayley and Nia Jax are like, to me, they're giving you it was to me like a 4-star up until the ending. I think they dropped down to 3.75 because it's like shenanigans and everything. So that's where I am, like a 3.75. But I thought they've always had good chemistry, but this was maybe one of their best outings. I liked it better than the SummerSlam match. There's some here. I love the spots they're going for. Nia's trying to fucking Hurricane Rana.
I think the crowd was more into this than the SummerSlam match. Because
they were, but then they didn't. Yeah. They started chanting for Tiffy. I was like, oh.
Because I was gonna say kind of the same thing. Because the SummerSlam match was like the crowd was like dead for it until Bayley did the powerbomb to Nia.
And they all woke up.
But then they go down, and then Tiffany's music immediately hits. So then they just chant for Tiffany.
Yeah.
Like and they did the powerbomb. That's why they're both down, and then she came out.
Yeah, and I will say that they chant Tiffy, but they were with the crowd, like you said.
No, yeah, I was seeing people saying it was like a bad crowd. Like they chant for Tiffy for like a little bit, but then they were definitely into it.
Yeah, and no, I thought this was a really, really good match. Bayley, can have a good match with a broomstick, but it just was something higher up, and I do like what they're doing with Tiffy. That's what I was pitching, where you're gonna have a few more months of her and Nia, and eventually it's gonna happen. But no, I thought they really delivered here. I think Nia has maybe one more pay-per-view defense, and then that's what I didn't buy. It was on SmackDown. Bayley was talking about her being like Gunther, like you're gonna be one of the most dominant women's champion. And then tonight the graphic was like second title defense. I was like, okay, like she just won it. Like it's not like they only say it because she's bigger, and that's fine. But it's like just have her have those wins. But no, I think either it's the next defense and then it's the cash in, or it is like she defends it, then the one after. Like I think she only has one more successful defense in there. It could be a triple threat. I think there is something really fun if they do a triple threat and Tiffy pins someone else to get the belt and not Nia. I think that would make Nia so pissed off. So I think I'll say before 2025. That's my prediction with Tiffy.
So that means either War Games or Saturday night's main event.
War Games is my pitch. I pitched that last gimmick. I want to happen in the match. I want Nia to be down. She goes to her table, and Tiffany's like, holy fuck. And then she pins him, and the War Game match still has to go on, and they're down. It's like, I hope it's War Games. I think would be
for that.
Tons
they'd
of
have
fun.
to be on like opposite teams, though, right?
No, they could be on the same team as long as she's another ref, right? Like imagine and the ref runs down, or even then she doesn't need another ref because tonight
technically the match doesn't start until everyone's in. So there could be some fighting. The match hasn't officially started yet because the last person's not in yet. Nia could go down. She can cash in before the match ever technically starts.
Yeah,
she could. And
that was tonight, I remember on like the Survivor Series stream where we watched, we were thinking like, if Randy never comes out, does this match never officially start?
Yeah, it's just a beatdown.
That could be something like you could start the match earlier by using the Money in the Bank, and then that'd definitely be interesting.
I always thought they had to have their own referee, but tonight she didn't because she was going to give it to the one referee that was in there. So I just think it's like there's only so many things you can do with the Money in the Bank briefcase that are first timers, and that is a first timer. Like the only other one I thought would be fun, but you can never do it, is somehow get like imagine Nia says, "Hey, I'm going to go in the Rumble because I want to go and beat Liv. Like I want to have like let's say she beats her. Here's my second pitch. She beats Liv at Saudi and she gets the fucking 40 carat. She's like, you know what? I want to be a undisputed champion. I'm gonna go in the Rumble and do that. Could you imagine if somehow they had a Money in the Bank cash in the middle of the Royal Rumble?
And
like
then
I think
make it for the winner of the Royal Rumble wins the championship.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's just
like
there's
the
no way,
like the Roman
one, yeah. But I just think War Games. But yeah, you're right, David. Saturday Night's Main Event is another good option too, because I think they're going to load that show up. So
yeah, you for as important as that's going to be, you got to load that show up with something. So I can see it there. I will say this. Okay. Tiffy has been great, like amazing with her facial expressions when it comes to the cash-ins, the almost cash-ins, the getting caught. Like her whole style with that has just been amazing. So I'm here for her, for facial expressions. I'm here for the way that she just heals it up with that. Like kudos to Tiffy for doing that.
Yeah. What'd you think of the actual match?
Actual match, again, like you said, Bayley could make a mop have a good match. Like she's just that good. I have been screaming the horn of Nia's gotten better. She had an interview on the pre-show where she even said, hey, when I got let go, that gave me time to figure out who Nia Jax was and come back as the best version of Nia Jax. And she has consistently proven that she has put thought and care into her craft, and she has gotten so much better, and she's putting on the matches that show it. The way she lifted for Bayley on that Samoan drop spot, I was like, you know, they were just working in tandem. Like everything about this, like that's not the Nia of old. She's putting on good ones. So she does want to hold that belt until Royal Rumble. Like I wouldn't be mad at it because the character work and now the ring work are all there.
Or so Charlotte still needs to win it by the end of the year to have her record.
Well, they are of that whole Queen thing, and that's one thing where I could see. I don't know. I thought they said Charlotte maybe is not as close as they thought, but I could see that being where Tiffy cashes in when we get Charlotte and Nia, and it's like not because it's tough because I do think one of Tiffany's defense will be against Nia. I think they'll have like a full on match, but we're definitely getting Nia and Charlotte soon, and hopefully it doesn't lead to another just face palming incident, which was one of the weirdest. That era was so weird between Becky and Charlotte belt.
With Charlotte.
That year in Charlotte's career, she was on a fucking like, if you fucking piss me off, I'm giving it to you. You know, I don't think it's the case anymore, and everyone goes through that. Like, fuck, Punk's gone through that multiple times, right? But it's funny. But I think we're getting, especially the Queen stuff, right? They're really emphasizing the bow down the Queen, everything, and who's the Queen of WWE? It's gonna be Charlotte. So I feel like I don't know, but I just don't know the timetable on Charlotte right now. So, what were you, Sbubbs?
About the match?
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I thought it was a lot of fun, and I did like their SummerSlam match. But yeah, definitely like with the crowd not being that much into it, it kind of just brought it down. But I was excited for this one, and it ended up delivering. Like you said, yeah, that Samoan drop spot, really good, and like it happened so quickly. You're just like, wow, like I can't believe they did that. And they did some cool stuff when Nia's like throwing Bayley against the barricade. Like some of those were like really hard. Like they like pushed the whole barricade like back towards the audience.
Powerbomb on the steps too. I was like, geez, Louise, like they're busting out some big moves here.
Yeah,
so.
And she did a Hurricane Rana on Bayley.
Yeah, and then you had Michael Cole and Corey Graves like trying to like. They're like, oh, like they had like a 2-minute conversation. It's like, I think we'll understand. She just wrapped her legs around her. Like, that's a hurricane roll. I get what she was doing, but.
I did get confused by the same thing they did on like the second one, where it looked like from the camera angle they were showing it on, which is the same one like they would have seen like on the monitors. It looked like Bayley had like reversed some move and like brought her down on it, but then it ended up being like a Samoan drop.
It was,
and then from that camera angle, it didn't like you didn't really see Nia do it, which was weird. And they were confused because they're like, oh, Bayley like took her down, and then Nia just like pins her. But I thought the whole match was great. It was a really fun match. I don't know how long it actually was. I'd have to look that up.
Oh, Meltzer has somewhere. He loves his time. So, but yeah.
Dropkick has the times now.
There you go.
You can look it up.
Yeah, and the same thing with Bailey. I'm interested to see where she goes, because obviously with the tag division, I think they're doing Piper and Chelsea. Well, it's tough. I feel like what I like about with the tag and all. Okay, here's the other thing. I know there was another debate about this, about the host of Bad Blood, whatever. That was pointless. You didn't even need them there, but cool. You got Naomi and Bianca and Jade on the card, which I found interesting. Another thing I'd say, minor note I don't like, when they're all in the ring, they're playing Jade's music, not Bianca's. It's like, okay, Bianca's still like, she's still to me like the second best.
I think they use Jade's because it doesn't have lyrics.
Yeah,
and it's just like background music.
Yeah, I guess so. So
I've noticed they do they play Bianca's for the entrance, but then when they win, they use Jade's. Or like if they're just like in a segment, they use Jade's. Because I think since it is just like the cool guitar, like electric guitar, it's like if they're talking over it, then it's not like mixing. I think that's why they're doing it.
Okay, I'll give them a mulligan then. But yeah, they didn't do much, but I will give them credit that it seems like they have two storylines going on right now, because they have the stuff with Damage Control, and to me they set up that Piper and Chelsea could also be like contenders coming up here as like a tag team, which they haven't really, I don't think they've delved in too much. Like I think there's a good Chelsea. I wouldn't even mind if that would be the team that would beat them. It might be Damage Control, but like Chelsea and Piper is like a full tag team. I think there's lots of potential there.
I mean, they were tag team champions for like 3 or 4 months.
Oh, right. I fucking forgot about that Sbubbs. I totally that's when I was not watching full time again. So that's why I say it was in the back of my mind. But yeah, I forgot about that.
It was a thing, where Piper like never actually won the. Like it was like.
Didn't she get injured? Right?
No, it was Chelsea won the titles with who was it? Like she had a bunch of different tag team partners. I think it was Sonya Deville that she won it with.
Yeah.
And then she got injured, and then Piper just like ran up to her and said like, "I'm your partner now." And then like she was
just inheriting the championship.
And then the storyline was sort of like slowly over time, Piper became more like Chelsea. Until now, they're both like fashionable and friends, and that's the story. So now they're an actual tag team. But yeah, they were tag team champions for like a while. I think they lost it to like the KCs, the Party Girls.
Oh right.
And then they lost it to the Kabuki Warriors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, the host thing didn't go anywhere. But yeah, then we got Damian versus Finn Balor in a match that I liked it, but I think we talked about this the last Gimmick where this could be a really, really good match. I think it was just good for me. I think the problem for me, not that this sounds like an insult, but it just felt like a Raw main event, where to me there's like pay-per-view matches and there's like Raw main events where they can still be really good, but sometimes they still have a cadence of not giving away too much. This almost felt like they were going to do more, and I don't know. It's almost like the tag match where it never clicked into, they both kicked out of each other finishers, and I don't even need that to be like, oh, to make it good. I just mean like, I think they were trying. Maybe this is one where I just wish they had God, who is it? Nick Aldis just say, Adam Pearce. Sorry, I'm mixing them up. I just wish they had Adam Pearce maybe say, hey, for this one, Judgment Day is banned from ringside. We already got Dom banned in one match. We're going to ban him here, because it just turned into the regular. Okay, some guy comes in, big boot. Some guy comes in, clothesline. Oh, they hit Damian, clothespin. Oh, Damian throws him over the top rope. They hit each other. It just feels like what we've seen over and over Judgment Day. So I think that kind of stopped it from being like a higher tier match. I will say that they did convince me for a second that Finn was going to win. When he hit those like 3 coup de grace in a row, I'm like, man, it's like, and I was actually kind of hoping for it, because like Finn, as we've talked about this podcast,
thought Finn was winning a match.
Well, that's what, for a second I did, but just like I said this in the Discord, so this is just for the listeners. But Emily, my wife, she used to watch wrestling like all the time, and then when WWE got bad, she fucking bowed out earlier before me, and then I bowed, and then she still goes like, we went to AEW last year, so she still likes it, but she's definitely a casual listener now, and just even seeing him come down with the mask, she's like, man, I miss the old Finn Balor. And it's like, that's just what I want. My hope is we do the Judgment Day Wyatt 6 feud, they lose that, and Finn turns face, and we get he needs to be the fucking demon character again. He needs something, because this Finn Balor, the backstabber Balor, like, I don't know. So my main point is the match I think was just good. When I actually thought it could have been like a 4, and I think this was like a I don't know, somewhere like a 3.5. Like 3 is probably too low, but like 3.5 even feels too high. So I don't know. Something was, didn't click as well as I thought it was gonna. So
it was my most disappointing match just for what I felt like they could have done. And then it was very paint by numbers. Yeah, this felt like a Raw match. This felt like we're just progressing the Judgment Day storyline. It didn't feel like, I know, was it Damien said afterwards he's done with the Judgment Day and all this other stuff now. Like, this didn't feel like a "I'm done with you" match.
Yeah,
This felt like a
I'll
see you next week" type deal.
Yeah.
Like,
where was the emotion? Yeah. That's what I wanted. These guys have been together for how long, and it's such a big deal. Like, I know there's other emotional feuds on the card, but that's what I wanted, was some just like some closure to it. And it just felt like Damien won a number one contendership and he's on to something else. It's odd.
Yeah, for me, this wasn't even a Raw main event match. This is like a Raw like
opening of hour 2.
Yeah, like three commercial breaks match where they do 2 minutes of wrestling in between. I didn't like this match, especially because I like Damien so much. So this match was just like a super disappointment for me. I was before this match, I didn't write it down anywhere, but I was like, big match Damien. His thing he does the Hurricane Rana if it's an important match, which is like, oh, he's so tall and he's doing it, and he didn't even do it in this match. So it's like this wasn't gonna be a top tier Damian Priest match. And yeah, I didn't really like this match. It was like, I didn't enjoy it really. For me, it's like a 2-star match.
Oh man, a fail. Wow, that's tough. So yeah, not fans of it here. So yeah, I don't know if they do it again. I could see them doing some sort of street fight for like a Raw main event or something. Raw is 2 hours, so like I said, I hope they move on. I hope the Wyatt Six and Judgment Day, they do their stuff. Same thing with Damien. I don't know what's next for him, because if Punk is next, I still thought there's like a Gunther Damien rematch that could happen. That could be in that Rumble, but I just feel like there's still some stuff to do there. They could put him in the Rumble. I guess they get a good showing, but I could see, unfortunately, some more Finn and Damien matches. I think I actually don't think it's the last one, because it's just, we're in that tough period of, because again, who's even IC champ right now? Like Jay, he's not going after Jay. Like if it was Braun, I'd say okay, I could see Braun and Damien or something, but I don't know. I think it's going to be more blood feuds with Finn for a little bit, and maybe he won't even be on the Survivor Series card if they keep it to like 5 or 6 matches. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's you know what? That's like Finn versus Damien on like a street fight. That is like the Raw main event for the go home to Survivor Series.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, and that's what I think is going to happen. And you know what? I guess I'll take it back. Where I said, I don't know if we need that. Maybe I'll say I'll give them a chance, because I think they could have something great and there could be some emotion, and maybe they were saving it. And they're like, okay, let's wait for when we get the spotlight. So who knows? And then finishing off the card here, and then we'll talk about the historic announcement. But talking about Judgment Day, we got Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. So this is an interesting match, like all around for me. I got the result that I wanted, but man, did I not feel good about it. And I also thought it was interesting because I feel like they had, in the take away the ending, I feel like in the middle portion, I was really enjoying their match, where even like Liv found a way to get out of the bulliness, and like she was working over the leg, and I thought there's some good back and forth. But the beginning, there was a lot of, okay, Liv's running around, it's just Rhea dominates, and then before the ending, there's a lot of like Dom's getting out of the cage and we're doing the pinata thing. And why I didn't like the pinata thing is, to me, that felt too much like Rhea a couple times has punched Dom or clothesline him, but to me, I still think like save like her really hurting him for a big pop. And for me, the pinata thing was almost like, oh, this is like, you're kind of spoiling the big pop. I've said this many times. My vision is WrestleMania, 80,000 plus, she rips Titan, and that crowd goes fucking wild. But I feel like they're kind of spoiling it a little. And now I think with this finish, I think obviously it was a mistake, but man, that really, you could just feel the air go out of the room.
Can I share screen here to share my reaction to this finish?
Oh, absolutely. So, but
Let's see if this works.
If you can,
share screen.
It might be somewhere you gotta like ask permission or something.
let me see if it works.
But yeah, so the match for me overall, I thought was good, but it's almost.
Can you see this?
I see it.
Let's see. This is my reaction here.
Here now.
Exactly. No pop.
Yeah, and that's for the finish. That's for Raquel comeback. But I think for me, it's like their SummerSlam match to me was definitely better, especially because they had Rhea like hurt. But this felt like it's just had too many bells and whistles to be really good. And finish, don't know who screwed up, referee Raquel, but what a stinker. And whoever booked that, they should have a talking to. Super overbooked. I get what they were going for, right? Dom's a pinata, the ref's going to go stop it, and then behind, while the ref's not looking, Raquel's going to attack. She either came too fast or the ref was late, but either way, like, you could avoid that all by the ref goes to check and he gets bumped by Rhea and he's down for 30 seconds, then Raquel does. Like, I know they don't want to do a classic ref bump, but sometimes that's the easiest way to go. You would have avoided this because I suppose I saw you saying on Twitter, it's the same thing where my pitch was, okay, Liv wins, and there's no reason for Rhea to get a rematch. She's lost, like, clean, but not really clean, but she's lost twice. So that's why it's like, the only way is, in a few months, she wins the Rumble, you reignite that feud. We've talked about before, like, Bianca and Jade's going to do their thing. It's probably Charlotte and Tiffany. There's nobody. I know people keep trying to pitch Rhea and Io at WrestleMania. It's not happening. That's not happening. They're both baby faces. I'm down for the match. It's happened in NXT. That's not happening. So to me, the only trajectory is Rhea and Liv, with Rhea getting the last laugh, the final win. And now they're in this weird situation where Rhea won by DQ, and it's like, technically she should get another match. She should get it. Like, it's not clean cut at all. So I wonder if they're going to run this back on a Raw main event and then do the same finish where Raquel interferes. I like the idea of Raquel being the heater. She didn't get a pop, which that was unfortunate. But yeah, it's just that I don't know what they do now because Rhea should get a match. So they made that finish really just amateur type of stuff. And it sounds mean to say, but it just felt like no one went, like, this is convoluted. Just like bump the ref and that's it. Like, even Dom, hey, like, how'd he get out? Why is he hanging? Like, all this stuff was like, it felt very Vince Russo-ish in a way too. So yeah,
there's too many moving pieces that did not connect. Like, all the gears were not there. With Dom hanging out and hanging upside down, and you could tell Rhea was taking her time. And then when she started swinging away on him, you could tell, like, she was looking as she's swinging. Again, like I put in the Discord, it gave me very where the fuck is Vicky vibes from
from SummerSlam. Oh, yeah. Like, have you ever seen that montage of this? So
I've seen part of that.
It's the custody of Dominic match. Yeah, and Vicky's late. And just all of a sudden, Eddie is just, where the fuck is Vicky? Like, he's off to the side, but he's so pissed. And it's so funny because, like, I remember as a kid, I was there live in that SummerSlam in that arena, and I didn't know what he was saying, but you could tell Eddie was like, he was yelling, and it was weird because Ray's on the other side. It's like, what's he yelling at? And yeah, it was a Vicky moment.
Yeah, she was the key spot to that match or interference, but she missed her mark, and he's trying to go on, and he's just like, where the fuck is Vicky? Yeah. So that's what that reminded me of, like, her looking around.
And then she put her on for the pin too, which just made her look dumb. Like, I get maybe she didn't hear the bell, because Emily's like, why would you still do that? I was like, yeah, my hope is that she didn't hear the bell and just thought, oh, throw her. But in the moment, it made Raquel look really dumb.
I'm like, is this kind of I'm just showing you that I'm bad? I'm like, but she didn't pin her on her own.
Cole, if it's not, it's like symbolic.
He tried. Yeah, he tried. He tried. And maybe they do something where Rhea's like, I'm so mad at Raquel, I'm gonna want to fight her first, and then they transition. But it's still just like, no, like, she should have a title match right now. Like, it sucks that happened, you know?
Putting her on top of her isn't symbolic of anything. Now, if Liv was standing on her own and went and did the whole step on you, flex, pin, count to 3 thing, then okay, you can call that symbolic. But having someone drape you over somebody for a 3 count, that's not going to happen because the match has been ended by the ref.
A 3 count. I saw someone point that out. She pulled up Liv, like, before it was even a 3.
It's just
because I think she noticed, like, halfway through
booking. Yeah. Like, it again, the initial part of the match was fine. It was good. They do have chemistry, but that ending, everything about it, from the moment that Dom somehow got the cage open to the drop down, the hanging, everything else. It was too convoluted. There was too many moving parts for this to be what it was. And I could tell something was going to go on between not only Rhea looking around, but also the announcers said about 3 or 4 times during the match about how Liv said, "I'm not bigger than you, I'm not stronger than you, but I can't outsmart you," that whole thing. So they kept alluding, okay, something's going to happen. This isn't going to have a clean finish, but that was just too much.
Yeah. What about you, Sbubbs? Anything else to?
Yeah, it was like I was enjoying the match like enough. I knew it wasn't gonna end clean like in any way. But yeah, it was just like a disappointing finish in lots of ways. And you guys have pretty much said everything else there's to say about it. So it was like I ended up rating like a 2.5. Like it was like if it kept going, it probably would have been like if it ended even I think if it ended without like the whole botch / weird ending, it'd probably be like a 3 out of 5. If it had been just like they continued the match without the I don't know, Dom helps her win or something like it was a good enough match where if it kept going, I was still enjoying it up to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so we got this, which we'll talk about a little bit because I think with Raw any of the matches I feel like what Sheamus beats Butch, Jay beats Xavier, and Gunther beats Sammy. Like there's nothing there that you guys have any hot takes are gonna have, right? Maybe I would love or Butch. Fuck, I call him Butch. Pete Dunne.
I was gonna say I feel like he could beat Sheamus.
I hope.
Especially since like all the times he's won is like with stuff from like the shillelagh shot.
Yeah. But in that sense, so we have Gunther versus Sammy, and the winner of that, whoever wins, which I think we know, but the winner of that's going to go on to versus Cody because the historic announcement, something and I fucking hate. I get they're getting paid so much money. I can't remember I've not watched a Saudi show. Maybe I did watch that last one with Logan and Cody. I think that one, that was the first one I watched in a while, but I hate when they just like, they talk about it, and I love when he said something about this glorious place, and then the crowd starts booing. I'm like, I hate when they get in the rhetoric of like, I get it, you're getting paid the money, but like, I don't need to hear about why. Even the promo was like, a place that's so magical. It's like we know the fucking shit that goes on over there. Like, just like stop.
Those Saudi shows have some like hilarious matches. Just looking at just like those like get these people on the card. Like the Crown Jewel last year had a Cody Priest pay-per-view match that I don't think anyone remembers. The only thing anyone remembers is because Priest like goes to he had a match later on in the show, but they had like Drew Seth earlier on, and he goes to cash in, and Sammy runs in and steals the briefcase and runs away. And then the next night on Raw, like they didn't even do anything with it. They're like, "Oh, Adam Pearce made Sammy give him his briefcase back." So it's just like a moment for Sammy like taking the briefcase, and like a bunch of kids like that was a funny moment though. Like a bunch of kids in like the front row like blocked Priest from from chasing after Sammy. They like made a wall to stop him, but it was just like a random moment. And yeah, that match that was the definition of Raw main event pay-per-view match.
And that's the Saudi shows to me sometimes are just glorified house shows, like they're house shows with a lot of pop and circumstance.
I love looking back at those at like the results from some of the some of those earlier ones, like from like 2020, 2019 WWE.
Never watched any
some
of
those match results are like there's some wild stuff on there, like Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin in a steel cage.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels' last match is still the last match he had with Undertaker at WrestleMania 26 for me because I've never seen. I know all the tag. I know I've seen the clips, but I've never fucking watched that thing. Goldberg and Taker, that's another one. But I will say too, back to because we're talking about it, it was confirmed by PW Insider that Drew McIntyre was legitimately busted open. It took 16 staples to close the wound. So yeah, and I figured because it could have been a back, but like
the first one was like it was such like a glob of blood.
Yes.
Like I thought it was like put blood pack in his hand, just like slap it on as hard as you can.
Yeah.
But
when it kept coming, that's
then later on,
okay.
when you saw it was like all the way down his head, that was like it's definitely bleeding. It's somewhere.
But yeah, so and like I said earlier, I hate they did the Tony Khan thing where this isn't a historic announcement. It's 2 guys and 2 gals are going to have a match. They're going to win a trophy, and then you won't talk about till next crown jewel to like Soul Size Pants money. I'm 50-50 on this idea because Liv versus Nia, I really don't have any interest in because like I just think that's a weird dynamic with them both being heels. I just like they maybe can put on a good enough match, but it's just odd. But sure, Cody and Gunther. Yeah. I'm torn on because when they did that Rumble a couple of years ago, when Cody won his first one, that like they showed okay, these 2 got chemistry, and that could like be an all timer type of match. I feel like to me that's guys that they could have a trilogy of 5 set matches. Where like wow, this is impressive stuff. So the match announcement alone, I'm excited just for that because that I think they're gonna. I just feel like they have similar mindsets of like not their styles but just how they appreciate wrestling. I just feel they're gonna feel very classic 80s type of heel and like babyface stuff. Like I think it's gonna be a great match. I just don't know because Triple H said there will be a winner. I don't really want any of them losing right now, to be honest, because Gunther's supposed to be on a tear, so if he loses that's kind of odd. And then I guess the only way I'm kind of I think to me Gunther has to win.
You could have a Sammy distraction if it's in Saudi. Like he comes up there and like helps his buddy Cody in some way, and then maybe you rematch that at like in Canada at Survivor Series
with Sammy. Yeah, no, you're right. You could do the distraction finish or something. That's why I wish WWE still sometimes had time limit draws, because I'd love if Gunther and Sammy went to like a time limit draw, and that's how you could do it. But my pitch was the other way, where I thought, what if Gunther wins, and then let's say Gunther loses that title at WrestleMania, and then he ends up on the same brand as Cody, and he could say, hey, you're still champ, but I beat you months ago. And that's what I'm kind of hoping, because I feel like Cody...
No, it's like, wasn't there that one, like... I saw like the NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series. Like NXT won like all of them or something like that. There was like one that they didn't win, so they were just like beating all these other champions. So
yeah, it's when I guess Keith Lee had his run.
Keith Lee was the next big thing. Yeah, he was going to be huge, and then became the Wildcat, or whatever the fuck Vince wanted to call him. But yeah, so for me, the match, I can't wait. I think that has possibility to be like a match of the year candidate, legitimately. But at the timing of it, I just don't know if anyone should be taking a loss right now. And that's a good way, I guess, to have a match for intrigue, right? It reminds me a little bit of Swerve and Ospreay a couple months ago, where it's like, this feels early, but at the same time, it's interesting. And either way, I think this is just the first of many. They will use the story in the future. But yeah, what did you think of the historic announcement? You like this idea? You're gonna be buying a title replica of the crown jewel, you know?
Definitely overhyped for well, I don't know if it's really overhyped, because they only really announced that there's gonna be an announcement at this.
They used the word historic though. That's the problem. If they said announcement, fine. Historic, I was like, okay, what's going on here? And it's just
I think for an announcement, definitely overhyped. But for what it is, what it's announcing in terms of a match, I'm excited for. Definitely going to be a great match. Like, yeah, they've been teasing like the Gunther Cody. Gunther was top 3 in this Rumble too this year. It was Gunther Cody. No, the thing was that Gunther almost eliminated Cody, and then it was going to be like he was in the top 3 this year too. Mm-hmm. So they definitely been building that for a long time. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a good match. Liv Nia is definitely interesting match up there. I've seen they've had like house show matches before. Like I think this year, I don't know really. I think they had a match. I think before like Elimination Chamber, when they were like building Nia, she was like beating everyone to build to the Rhea match. Yeah.
So that's what I thought for a second. If Rhea won, I thought, they're going to do Rhea Nia, and Nia's going to win this time. That's what I thought was going to happen. I still think Nia's winning this. I think Liv can't, like, unless they use Raquel, but I don't know if I want Tiffany to cash in at Crown Jewel, but I don't think they'll do that then, because it'd be weird to have a cash, because then I feel like Liv Morgan winning this Crown Jewel championship would mean nothing, because everyone would just care about what Tiffany won. So yeah, I take that back. There's no cash in happening at all there. Maybe a tease, and that makes her lose again, but
so. Yeah, I'd say Nia probably just wins there. Wins. Yeah, but then Gunther, Cody, definitely interesting what could happen. I think it depends on how they build up to it. But yeah, that's one where I think it could go either way, and that could be like a 30-minute match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, that's and then I wonder. I guess those would be like the. I assume probably the opening and the closing of that show. So I wonder what's in between there.
Oh yeah, maybe another super tag with all this, Team Johnny, Team Long situation. No, I'm sure you'll get some more bloodline stuff. I'm sure
I was gonna say like Roman and Jimmy in a tag match.
I guess I'm over the fucking tag matches of the blood. I'm over the 2 versus 2, and it's like them versus Orton and KO. Like, there's only so much more I can take of SmackDown.
I think that first one. It's probably still the best one, like the street fight at Backlash. I think that's a great match. I love that match.
Yeah, and I get it. You're probably right. They probably will do Roman and Jimmy, and that's one where, okay, Roman Hogan, you gotta sit down. Roman and Jimmy can't be main event in the fucking. If they main event over Cody and Gunther, you're gonna hear some issues from me there.
Ula's hanging above the ring for that match.
Oh god, that could do it. That if they have a match for the Ula, that could make them in the main event. I'm not even fucking
on a pole.
Yeah, because they'd be like, well, Cody wasn't defending his championship, So, oh boy, David, any thoughts on the historic announcement? You gonna remember where you were when Triple H announced the Crown Jewel Championship?
I mean, it's no groundbreaking first ever, but
yeah.
I mean, well,
it is a first ever though. There's been a Greatest Rumble champion, but not a Greatest champ. Also, as I completely forgot because I seen Sbubbs' background photo. Hate that The Rock brought the fucking fake belt back with them. I was fine for WrestleMania.
I mean, it's part of like the gimmick. Like he made himself a title just because. Like,
and that's what I was about to say. How many fake titles are we going to have on here? So are we going to have someone walking around with this fake title for a week? Maybe The Rock with his fake title. Is Braun Strowman bringing back the Greatest Royal Rumble championship?
I would love it if they. I would love it if he's like, I'm back. I want to defend it. Fuck, do it. Do the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Have him and whoever wins do the Cena Punk hold up the belts.
Yeah, I think the Crown Jewel Championship you'll see for a week and then it's gone. I think on the SmackDown Raw they'll be like, I won it. Yeah. That's why I think Gunther will win so he can.
Well, you know what? They're doing Raw in Saudi Arabia that next week.
Oh, perfect.
So they're bringing it out there.
So yeah, they'll win it, they'll show it off, and then you'll see it until 2025.
So if Raw is also in Saudi, then that just basically tells you Gunther's gonna win because they're going to have that belt back on Raw. You're going to get the one more time. We got to parade this around. That sweet, sweet Saudi money. Blood has bought this. We've got to show it off.
Does that mean Liv wins though, because she's Raw?
I don't think Liv wins.
I don't think they'll care if it's one or two.
I don't think.
I guess one to show off in Saudi Arabia and one to put on the rest of the world.
What if Nia wins the Crown Jewel one and that's what Tiffany cashes in on? Yeah. She cashes in the Crown Jewel champ.
And I'll have to rewatch it. They clarify, are the women getting a belt as well?
I think so.
I mean, they said for the men and the women, but I guess if it's like a trophy...
They said that the champions would go head-to-head, but they only had the one belt, so I'm wondering, are the women going to get a belt?
I legitimately think they're going to use that one belt for both matches. I think that's what's going to happen. I do. I think that they'll have it at the opening with the women, and let's say Nia wins it. Yeah, they'll go clean off, get the sweat off, and then they'll roll right back out for Cody and Gunther, and same thing. I think they're both getting a belt, but it's the same belt.
It's the same.
That's my theory. If I'm wrong, because Tony did, because this feels a little like the Owen Hart Cup, right? Tony had the women's belt made and the men's belt made. If we get a photo of them side by side with two belts, then I'll say, okay, I was wrong on that one. But that's my prediction: is one belt for both.
And the front plate of the Saudi belt looks like an AEW belt. The main plate looks like an AEW belt.
I've not looked at it good enough, but okay.
I saw it and I was like, this looks like the whole shape of it, and then the rivets like in the corners. I'm like, this looks like an AEW belt.
Here we go. I'm looking at it.
I mean,
right
that's
now.
like that.
It does look like the Continental a little bit.
I was gonna say, I remember
and
I said, I didn't know
the
what
women's
the Continental looked
championship
like.
has that rivets in it.
Yeah,
all their belts.
If someone had told me that was the Continental title and I didn't know what it looked like, I would have believed them.
Oh, I love this. This could have been an email, not going to lie. Nobody gives a fuck. Good quote tweet by someone here on Twitter. But yeah, at least we're getting, and like I said, I think Gunther and Cody, I'm just waiting for them to be on the same brand, and that's like a 6-8 month feud. I know that sounds long, but like, no, to me, that's like that's a money-making feud right there. I always thought there was a chance that Gunther was going to be the guy that beats Cody, and I don't know if that's a chance now because he's the world champ. But yeah, who knows? So, okay. Anything on
what I was gonna add to that? It's like I don't think I'll necessarily remember that historic announcement, but I will remember that whole segment that happened with Gunther afterwards.
Yeah, so we had Goldberg in the crowd and Gunther, which I'm happy they went back to because I made the joke. I'm like, oh look, his favorite wrestler's there, and Gunther go, no, you're actually not my favorite wrestler. How could I love a wrestler when I love wrestling? Like, and saying, I hope your dad's a better dad that he is a wrestler, whatever. Gunther for some reason has turned into 2004 Randy Orton. He's like the legend killer. Anytime there's a legend, he's just out there to like shit on them, which is like, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just weird that the pivots happen. But I swear, because Goldberg's been talking about that he wants one last match.
Triple H in the press conference, never say never.
Never say I guess I don't think they have a date for Saudi. If you want to do that for a Saudi show, I guess fine. I will not. I will say this live on air. I will not be covering that match. I will not watch it. I will. Or
what if you hear it's good? That was a good.
There's no way.
Goldberg,
people haven't lined themselves.
Classic.
Yeah. Okada would be jealous. It's like the best match is Okada and Omega, right? But no, I just don't want that at all. Goldberg, like even people I know, when there's rumors the big guy coming back and lawsuits aside, when people are like, yeah, I hope it's fucking Brock. It's like, I'm done with Brock. I'm done with Goldberg. I'm done with that whole generation of part-timers. We got new part-timers now. We got Punk. We got Roman. Like those are people that are good, and they're much better. Like Brock, don't get me wrong, he can be great, but there's times where he can also be lazy. Goldberg, we know what it's gonna be. He's gonna get chopped a few times. Spear. I don't want him to try and jackhammer Gunther because I don't want him to break fucking Gunther's neck. Like.
Have Gunther jackhammer Goldberg.
Absolutely, and then put him in the sharpshooter. Have him tap out.
He would do. That's one of Gunther's finishes. That he's done. Yeah.
Have him tap out, and that's the end of Bill Goldberg's fucking career. Have Brett as the referee, so Brett could get a fucking Saudi payout. Have him do the screw job to Goldberg. I don't care, but I don't want Gunther and
you'll have Gunther doing super kicks to Goldberg.
Yeah, but I think that I sadly think they are going to do the match. I do. So I don't know when, but I think it'll happen. So
yeah, if Gunther wasn't already on the card for Saudi, I would say it was going to be the Saudi show. But unfortunately, this is happening, and I'm going to have an enjoyable bathroom break when it does.
Yeah, it could also be a Rumble defense. I could see that too. Like the champions always kind of get like these like nothing. It's either nothing or something really fun. Like I remember one Rumble, they're like Undertaker's going to defend his world title against Rey Mysterio, and it ended up being a great match. So I feel like Rumble title defenses for the champs going to Mania, it's two things. It's either a really fun out of their match, or it's something like this where it's like, okay, it's a big deal, but it's nothing like you care about. And
yeah. I don't know. Punk versus The Rock was at the Royal Rumble.
It was, yeah, and that's one where it's like that's a big one, and the wrong guy fucking won. The wrong guy fucking won. The Rock should never beat CM Punk, and he shouldn't beat fucking Cody Rhodes either. Let's not redo this, but alas, who knows? So, NXT debuted this week. CW, big numbers. What was that, 859 or whatnot?
I think that's 895.
895. There you go. I flipped it around, but seemed like it was positive. I'm classic Travis. Did not get to watch it. We'll watch it at some point. And always, because it's tough when I got the 3 shows now with AEW, Raw, and SmackDown. NXT's always the one, but I've seen enough of the highlights. But I'm gonna let you guys talk about. But the only thing I will say is I thought they were very smart to not have Roxanne lose. And I think that for me, it's like we had heard rumors before they were going to do a storyline. Cora Jade seemingly is healed. And I think you do that storyline for a while. They got other stuff laying, like, Stephanie's coming. So I think NXT is cooking a lot right now. And I think they got, it's going to see what they can sustain. I think they're going to jump around between 600 and 700, but they got a lot of good stuff going on right now. But Sbubbs, what did you think of the show, the debut?
Yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable show. It was weird because it was very like hyped up, it's like it was the premiere. But then the show, not that it was a bad show, but it's like I don't really know what the word is for it because it wasn't like it had some big matches, but then some of it was just like sort of normal NXT plus some stuff with like the network. Like I think on USA they had a lot less ad breaks than like being on free TV. So I think they were still kind of getting used to the structure of it. So while it was weird, they were trying to do like a normal episode of NXT while having like PLE matches. So it was kind of a weird mix because NXT, a lot of it, like there's the weekly shows, a lot of the backstage segments and stuff like that. But they didn't really have any on this show. Like they had like a few really short ones. So there was like it was a weekly show without advancing any storylines, if that makes sense. Because it was like they had the big matches, but it was still like on a weekly show.
Yeah, but like the Cora Jade thing, at least I think gives you the where we're going next.
Which I'm interested on seeing like how like on this week's show it works out. Like I assume that's like an opening promo. So then, but then they still have a bunch of big matches. Arguably bigger matches than the first week on the second week because you have Randy Orton wrestling, you have Bianca and Jade on the show, you have like the NXT North American title match, so yeah, and the tag team like championship match too. So they're definitely stacking up the second show too, since going against Dynamite.
Yeah.
Though Dynamite's starting late. It's starting at 9 on Tuesday.
Yeah,
so I guess to take the second half of NXT viewers.
That's this week, right? Because I'm gonna get screwed up there. I'll probably have to watch those both on replay, or at least AEW, because Tuesdays are always iffy for me. Is there a reason why it's not on Wednesday? I still have not found
it's MLB playoffs.
Yes, that's what I was just looking at now. I believe that there is. They probably did not want to go head to head. Let's see. Yep.
No.
The Tigers play on TBS at 208, and then again, let's see, Yankees Royals. Okay, so I can't say too much because my team is playing on TBS on Wednesday, so I would just shut up and be quiet and say go Royals.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm sure NXT I would imagine, for sure beat them there because AEW is going to be not on its regular time slot. CW is there, and it's like Title Tuesday, and like I don't fucking think they've announced it. Like
they announced so far, no title matches are taking place on Title Tuesday. They've announced Danielson and Yuta versus Pac and
Claudio.
Yeah, Claudio,
which I can't wait. Of course.
Not for the in fact, there's trios champions on both teams in that match. Although it's not for the title.
To bring out all those Ring of Honor belts.
And then they announced like the Brit people were mad about Brit getting a title shot.
I'm mad.
But I think it's a match it's her versus Willow for number one contendership of the title on Title Tuesday.
Mercedes Moné does have a match. I think that's it so far.
She does.
Mercedes does have a match with Yuka Sakazaki. I believe is the only actual title match that I know of. I mean, you've got all these Ring of Honor matches. Dustin Rhodes is two different champions. Like you can do something.
They're taking longer and longer to announce matches to the point where Collision this week had no matches announced by the time it started. Like people were going to the show, there was not a single match announced.
Even Wrestledream, it was weird. Like the AEW usually has their cards a couple weeks out, and like last week it's like, okay, we know.
Oh
Brian
yeah,
and
by
Mox.
Dynamite it was only Brian and Mox,
Yeah.
and after that they announced more stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're just Tony's all concerned about this TV deal and everything. So
I mean,
hopefully
supposedly the thing going around is that I forget at which point, but that sources say that Tony like doesn't care about long term and he only books week to week now. He said he moved away from long term booking and now he's only booking week to week.
I saw that, and like I have to believe either that's wrong or misquoted, or he's had a weird change of heart. Just because we just got the
There was
Tony...
another thing that said like the only thing planned out ahead was this Brian Mox story. They said that's all Mox's idea, and that he's pretty much booking this storyline.
For me, it's just weird because like they just did Tony and Mariah, and I think like whatever you feel about the match, like that was a long-term story. They paid it off, and I think there's still more. So that's why I would find it odd that in August, like, what changed from August to like what happened to him in September? They go, you know what? No more of this long-term booking. It didn't go anywhere. And that's the case. Like, if that is true, that's something that that'll hurt the company even more, in my opinion. That's stuff that will, because I'm not saying every single feud has to be long-term, but you should least have.
I think what changed, or like what made them, if you're wondering at what point, is they had 4 like event shows, or well, not let me see, because they had pretty much weeks. What was it like? They had All In, All Out.
Yep.
Like Grand Slam, and Grand Slam for Dynamite and Collision, 5-year anniversary. Like they had pretty much like what they're advertising as these big shows for like 4 weeks straight or whatever. So how are you gonna like build these long-term stories if you have to build for these big matches for one like every single week?
Because you do, like, this is one thing that I do, like, whatever people feel about the Triple H 5 match thing, as somebody that, you know, loves GM mode, you do got to save some big matches for your shows. And, like, I agree with that method where I still think Triple H could spread to a 6. I think 6 would be sometimes a bit better, but it doesn't matter. You look at Raw already feels stacked with, like, even though we know the results, fucking Gunther, and I know tons will hate that, right? Sami Zayn saying, well, it's on Bad Blood because I've been told, like, I'm paraphrasing, but it's not needed for that show. And people say, the world title's not needed for the show. But guess what? Like, as insulting as it sounds, it's not. And one thing I will say at least about Wrestledream is with Brian main event, that is sold. You don't got to worry about the rest of matches because that's what people are there for. But at the same time, what you do is you just have long stories going off, but don't pay them all off at the same time. So, okay, we're not going to pay this off at All In, but we'll pay it off at Grand Slam. Like, keep concurrent stories and then pay them off at different times. Not pay them all off at All Out, then like, fuck, we got nothing else. Let's just do this. Like, keep some stories going. Or you just got to hotshot something really good, which I think the Mox and Brian thing is, for the most part, good. But that's where it's just like, if that is a true statement, that's something that they got to sit them down. Like, you can't, like, some of the best angles in that company, Hangman and Kenny Omega, which I would consider maybe, okay, it's either that or it's MJF and Punk. And MJF and Punk was another long-term story that lasted like 4 months. Like, by the time MJF and Punk had their first promo in their match, it was weeks and weeks. So it's just like the best stories have been those ones that span a long time. It's not going to work for everything, but if that is the case, then it's like, man, I lose more faith in him for certain things. And it shouldn't be up to the talent to be like, oh, I got a long-term story. They can pitch it, but it shouldn't just always be Tony, because that's Vince did the same thing near the end of people will forget. You know, they won't care. It's like, I'm not saying he's doing that, but I don't know. You get less investment from people, I think, if it's too many short stories.
Yeah. I also saw, like, in terms of like ticket sales and stuff, people were saying like if you're buying a ticket to a show like ahead of time, you're like, I'm definitely going to this show. Like, if you're buying it like 2 months out or 3 months out, like you're changing your plans because you're going to that show. But if you know that stuff isn't getting announced until the week of, and if you know the prices are dropping too until the week of, like, you can just wait. And if there's matches, like, they announce it the week before, like, okay, now I'm going to go. But then maybe it's like, maybe those people who now it's sold out or whatever, now it costs too much, they would have bought earlier. And it's like, now it's like, well, I guess they didn't announce the matches, or I'm not interested in these matches, or whatever it may be.
And that's the stupid problem with the whole Collision Dynamite thing with the not split rosters. Like, it just, you don't know. You never know who you're going to see. I remember when we did Wrestledream last year and we saw Collision, because Collision tickets for good seats were super cheap, and we got there and we I'm sorry, but we left when ROH started. We didn't mean, I'm like, we don't need this. But like, same thing. Luckily, I found out it was like 2 days before. It's like, oh yeah, Kenny Omega's going to be on. But I'm like, I bought my tickets and I'm in town. I love wrestling. It's like, oh, I'm down to see some wrestling. But it's like, I don't even know who I'm going to be seeing, and it was like a nothing, like it's the show. It's Wrestledream was on a Sunday. This is on a Saturday. There's not much to it, but that's the thing. At least you'd have some idea of who you're seeing. But with these rosters and just 2 shows, you have no idea who's going to be where. And at least if you announce it ahead of time, then great. But if you don't, I don't know. That's where things like, I'm glad they got, like, maybe we'll talk about the free agency and Vince doc, because we're already talking about AEW now. So like I'm glad they secured the bag, got the money, and my hope is that like after they got that, they can focus on some of these things. But they need to worry about now. Okay, in 3 years from now, you gotta get your product. I'm not saying I don't think you can get back to 1 million. I think they've lost that hype. They need a NWO storyline type of thing. Shane McMahon is not that, luckily I hear that's not the case. And Sbubbs says there's some theories, but like they tried with the Bucks thing, and that's another thing too, with the people hyperbolic in film communities and wrestling communities. They showed the fucking Punk footage years ago or like months ago and people, that's going to kill them. They got a new TV deal. They're around for 3 to 4 years. Like, everyone blew it up way too much, but at the same time, it also didn't work as long-term. It's like, I've said this before, it's like they lost interest in like the Bucks controlling AEW. It's like, yeah, we're in control. I'm like, nah, now you're just a tag team again. They should have paid that off and just had them lose and do whatever. But that's the thing where it's like, sure, you got the bag now, but now you got to focus on the next 3 years, because there's a good chance Warner Brothers might be owned by someone else again in 3 years, and you got to be a property that they look and they want. That was the issue. Eric Bischoff is half right when he says no matter what, WCW was going to die. I don't believe that. People bought it and they didn't want wrestling. But if WCW was a huge show, they would have won it. So that's the thing with the storytelling. You got to get people invested still, and the long-term stuff, that is a scary thought. But yeah, they got the TV deal. I think the streaming thing is really great for them as far as Collision and AEW, because there is tons of people that might just click on it, or it's just getting the exposure. So I think streaming does help, and maybe that thing pops off in there. The pay-per-views, I get why we talk about that, why it's not there, but I'm just happy they do have a spot for 3 years, and then we can stop talking about it. And now I just hope that it's some good content coming up, because I think they've had some good stuff, a good run as of recent. Like, even then, like, what do you define as a long-term story? Because I would say soon for me, Hangman and Swerve might end up being my favorite long-term story. And that's like a, I don't know, that's literally a year feud that started a year ago, like next week or whatever, because that's when the first Wrestledream happened. So I don't know. Yeah. Let's see. So Wrestledream, we got that next week. We got the 6 matches. We have Mox and Brian. No one thinks Brian's winning here, right? Anyone?
I don't think so. Yeah.
No, it's over. David, I pitched this last month, and you're like, I don't know if Mox is the guy, but I said, like, I had a sneaking suspicion, like, Brian's gonna want to go with Mox. Like, I just felt it. Now they're doing it. And then I do have a follow-up question for Sbubbs.
I don't know if it's going to be a clean win. I'm still wondering, like, how I think Mox is going to win, but I don't know if the title's going to change hands. I don't know how clean the win's going to be. That is my thing. I do think that Mox is going to win. I don't know if this is the end of the Brian run yet, and I don't think that the title is going to change hands. So how we get there, that I'm not sure of. Yeah, no, I think there's going to be a rally cry against the BCC, even if it is Wheeler Yuta coming in and doing something. I'm not sure. Something's going to keep this match from having a clean cut finish.
Really, I think Mox hit him with a bunch of Death Riders after there's some interference, and it's just done. Maybe you got Christian in there to save you, but I think Mox is going to need this title for whatever they're doing. And yeah, I'll throw it at Sbubbs, because you said in the Discord there's like a couple theories. These
are not good theories.
No, I know.
They're theories I found on one of my favorite places to visit, which is r/AEW official on Reddit.
So I
which
will
is like
say
these are the most diehard AEW fans. Like if you say anything negative on this, they'll ban you.
you're dead.
But I love looking at this page, just lurking. Like I don't comment on anything, but I love reading what these people say.
Well, to specify the reason we're talking about this is because I think it was PW Insider that said or was it Dave that said it's not Shane? Like I can't remember who.
Dave.
I think it's Dave. Which
who knows?
It's an AEW scoop though, and I do believe he has a better sourcing there, and I do believe that. And I have said this before. For me, the way people reacted to the CM Punk footage when I said, like we kind of felt the same way. Like everyone's gonna feel they do. They're gonna pop a rating, and I did not feel it was like the death. Like everyone's like, oh, this is it. This is gonna kill the company. It's like I never felt that.
I think the difference here is like, for the CM Punk footage, like AEW fans were like, "This will expose CM Punk," and then people outside were saying like, "This is the death of the company." Where for Shane, if you look at like the AEW, like these people I'm talking about, for them, like Shane joining is like, for them, this is like, even for the diehards, they're like death of the company stuff.
So for me, I'm not gonna say death of the company, but for me, if Shane comes in, that is a turning point for me. There is a time in my mind when I go, oh, that's when AEW that's when they became TNA Light. It's very similar to a lot of the things TNA would do. And for me, I get it. You can get the big pop. They'll spark a rating or two. But I just think, especially right now, when we're going to end this episode and just do quick reviews of like the Vince doc, especially right now, it is not the time to have any tie, and especially because Tony has done his stupid and whatever, that's fine. But the Harvey Weinstein stuff, and I've said before, like, don't do that because you're the same guy that says maybe one day we'll work together. It's like, well, if you want to fucking work together, stop saying that shit. You know, like just ignore them. And this is the only thing too. I'll accept the only reason I would accept this if somehow Shane could bring the two companies together and we get that fucking mega show, then I'll accept it. But that's not going to happen. So to me, this is the worst time to have him there, and I don't think he brings much other than like a pop. I guess I'd only be fine that if like he was like Darby's open challenge, he wrestled, and then we never saw him again. Like it would have to be like that for me. For me, it's like hey, one special time I got Shane in, had some fun, that's it. If he's like a storyline guy, so I'm not saying I'm going to turn off AEW, but that will be a distinct like chapter to me of, oh, that's like almost like for me a jumping shark moment. So I get those AEW hardcore fans because that's just like, that feels too much just kind of desperation in my mind. Dave, how do you feel? You're someone like me. We've been with AEW for the beginning. If Shane says not as of right now, but we keep getting pictures of him with Tony, him with the Bucks. Like they keep fucking throwing gasoline on this fire. Maybe they're lying to Dave to get that pop. You know, what would you feel if he is one of these big reveals?
If he is one of the big reveals, the only avenue that I see this going is the Sting at WrestleMania 31 situation where they just bring him in to give the old what for, we're the best, beat you up style thing. That's the only reason. But I do not think that they should do it right now. You cannot bring him in without the baggage associated with his last name, with his family. This is definitely not the right time to do it. What are you going to say? Ooh, we got the good McMahon. No, you still have Shane on a documentary saying all he wanted was a hug. Like that's still going to live there. And if
they didn't know about some of this stuff, like come on
if I'm
now,
any AEW wrestler, I'm cutting a promo and I'm referencing that stuff. Like there's no way around it.
Mercedes said, she thought, in her opinion, the whole roster would be excited for Shane to come in.
Mercedes got to stop talking. She's got to stop. And I don't mean that in a misogynist way. I mean just the thing she's saying, and it doesn't make sense. One week she's talking about
her interview skills are as good as her mic skills.
But it's weird because
it's not interview. It's like her own blog. Like these are her own thoughts directly. No editor.
And it's just them. It's weird. Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, she said like, "Yeah, I left because I was being talked down by the chairman." And now it's like, "Yeah, he's a genius," and like it's just.
Even in that the thing I read, which is like the craziest one, which is, I'm paraphrasing, but it's like he said so many like mean things or ideas that I didn't like. And I was a wrestler then, but now looking back as the CEO, I think he was right in some of those things he told me. It's like one of the things he said.
I guess my only hope is it's in character, but fuck, I don't know. So
no, that's not character and no character. You stay away from defending that man right now. There is no situation where you defend that man. Like it does not need to happen.
So give us some of these names, Sbubbs. What are the diehard?
Well, the most realistic one, which is like I've seen people throw it around even before the Shane stuff, is that it's like Josh Barnett, and this is the MMA Mox verse.
For me, that's such like a whimper one. That for me is like that
was the one even before Shane was like a thought. Everyone thought it's Josh because they're all the shoot style.
Yeah, I remember that was the initial one. Yeah, for me, that's just like that's just those fans that like they love MMA and wrestling. And they just like love the connection. Like I watch pro wrestling, man. Like I don't watch UFC. Like I get it that Mox wants to be a badass and all that stuff, and he is. I'm not saying that, but it's just like if the reveal is just Josh Barnett, that is like at least though it's gonna be like the Devil storyline where I think he would just be there and then would like die very quickly and then we'd move on.
But isn't WWE? Well, they were up until I think the TKO deal, but they may still weren't they working with Josh
still
Barnett
they sent a bunch of people to the Bloodsport.
Yeah, they sent Shayna there. They Dempsey went there, and someone else went there.
Both brothers went there too.
Barnett's gonna not Shane McMahon. Barnett's gonna be the one that gets them together. WWE and AEW. He's gonna sit Tony and TK down, and they're gonna talk and like, okay.
I mean, at one of the Bloodsport shows, MVP had like his first outside WWE appearance. I don't know if they actually ever had that match. I don't think they ever did. But he like challenged Barnett to a Bloodsport match. Like he showed up at the end of one of the shows, but I don't think it happened yet. But that's that's like the most, let's say, like plausible theory. Some other crazy ones. I was trying to look to these posts to see if I could find more details because I remember the names just because of like how wild they were, but I don't remember like what these people's theories were specifically. I think the other one that people think is that there's no higher power. It's just like Mox being like poetic about like bigger than himself.
I hope honestly that for me that's the best option out of all. I already said that in Discord, but that's the best option. Mox is a great talker. He is like, you could argue the ace of AEW. What better guy to be like? He's gone mad and decides like it's the Doctor Doom thing of I've seen the future and the only way the world survives if I run it. So it's like I hope it is just like Mox being like in a religious zealot sort of way of I got to get this company back on track. For me that is the route you go, and then it means more because I think that. I didn't say this in my prediction, but I think Mox is going to beat Bryan, and I do think Darby's going to beat him for that title. I don't know when, but I think they're going to have Darby be the one that beats Mox. Because Mox even said like he'll never be AEW champion. Right there, that's over. That's the cinema incoming store long-term booking that for some reason should work, but I hope it's Mox.
Here we go. I'm trying to find some other crazy theories here. There's Eddie Kingston is secretly in control of this, and he wants to make the company better or something.
I'd have to. Eddie's a good talker, so like I'm somehow not opposed to it. More
Eddie's
than
a good talker, but the whole in control thing doesn't match Eddie's MO.
I agree.
Yeah, the rest of these are like I don't know where people got these theories from, and like don't really make sense.
What are some of the ones that don't make sense? Give me 3 ones that are just like random people here.
Tony Khan. And he's turning heel.
I gotta inject a lethal dose of poison. Well, you know what? That could have worked if, like, you know how this could have worked is if the Bucks had completely taken over AEW and it was their show, like an NWO thing. And it's like, okay, I'm getting the BCC. You guys can do whatever. Fuck people up, injure them, threaten their life. I don't care. Do your thing, but it's not because the Bucks aren't a problem anymore. They're just like having matches with Private Party. Like, cool.
See, and I would love that.
Yeah,
I would absolutely love what you just proposed. Like the Bucks went power mat, and then Tony went to the BCC and was like, "I need my company back. I don't care how you do it.
Yeah,
just get my company back." Like, and then the BCC does all the stuff that they're doing now and
then
the
they
way
go
that
too
they're
far.
acting now.
They go off the rails, and you have this whole story about Tony Khan
That's
being
how
like,
you get
man,
the first Tony Khan match in AEW.
I don't go that far. Yeah, Whoop versus Shane. No, but like, and then you get the whole thing of like, and that's how. Guess what? That's how you could return the Bucks babyface and get the Elite. And they go, you know what? We really screwed up. We got to get this company back to the way it used to be. Like the story's there. It's such like not an easy, but it's like it is there. But again, like I said, they just lost interest in the whole new Elite thing. They're like, oh well, Okada's just gonna wrestle here and wrestle there, and you know the Bucks they're defending their tag belts again because everyone complained. So great, they're doing that, but it's just, yeah. What's another wow? Give me two more.
Let me see. I'm looking towards. I think I found the thread. One I saw was Nigel McGuinness because of Brian, he's in control of this.
Yeah.
Multiple people said that one. I think maybe as a joke. And I'm trying to find more. Like it's like I've seen that on Josh Barnett. Obviously, people keep mentioning it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find one more. Like I'm going through this thread. I see Eddie, Tony, Shane, Josh Barnett. I'm just looking for one more.
Yeah. Okay. So then, while you look for
I guess that's it. But
that's it?
yeah,
Okay.
those are
like
crazy
TK
theories I found there. Eddie was the one. Like it kind of makes a little bit of sense. I guess
you could see something.
Of.
Yeah, but okay. So yeah, you got Mariah May versus Title Tuesday win, and I'm gonna say as an AEW fan, this card for me is like, it's not weak. There's a couple surprise matches on here, but it is one of their weaker cards, I think, this year, because I think for just both matches, I don't care. Willow versus Britt Baker, neither of them should get a title match. Willow just lost to Chris Statlander. And
you see the whole Chris Statlander debacle going on.
Don't get me fucking started, because that's something I am mad at too. They had her beat Willow and look like a fucking heel badass, and now her and Stokely are done, and now she's a babyface again. What? And that is shit. When you're talking about long-term booking, just stuff like that, like, oh, okay, she's a babyface now because we need her versus Monet. Don't get me wrong, that could be good, especially with Chris being bigger, could toss around. But I actually thought they had something really going with Chris Statlander finally, and they just, no, we're not done. We're doing that.
That was my favorite match on All Out, and then neither Chris or Willow showed up on any shows for like 2 weeks, and then they only showed up in backstage segments.
Oh, and that's been happening before. Like, he got a bigger push, but that happened with Orange Cassidy for a while, where he's super popular. He went away. That happened with Hook many times, where he's over, and then where's he been for 3 months? Oh, or 3 weeks. Like, oh, he's just on Dark. It's like, why? What's he doing over there? Like, it's just frustrating. But yeah, so Willow should not get a shot, and Britt Baker shouldn't get a shot either. Like, it doesn't matter that she's like, one of the OGs and a big star that from the past, and memes aside from the Monet thing, it's just like, that doesn't make sense. She just lost a title match, and then, oh, well, I'm going to go fight for this title now. It just, so I imagine May will win. I don't think anyone has anything different. Anyone else think Willow or Britt could beat May? I guess my hope is May wins and Tony goes back.
Like a longer built feud. I think she could have won. But if they're just doing it off like a number one contendership match. And I assume that match, I guess it's for Wrestledream, I assume.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
But yeah, I assume Mariah retains and Tony comes back at some point. Like, she's been in Japan doing stuff.
Yeah,
and like in segments that she's had, she's like in character, like has like mentally blocked Mariah May. Like, if anyone talks about her, she's like, oh, I don't know who that is.
Well, and to me, before Tony comes back, the other match they have to do to me is Mariah May versus Shakira there, live show charisma like that, because she's already shown that she was like iffy on what she did to Tony. So there's still more story to be told with all three of those women. But then you got Young Bucks versus Private Party. I think this is just to have, because people complained about Young Bucks not defending. So like, okay, we're going to have them defend. And it's just another, okay, they won a match on Collision tonight. While Bad Blood was happening. And so I think Bucks just beat them in like a entertaining match, like a back and forth good match. But I think Bucks will beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this match, which people need to calm down because they're like, oh, here comes the unstoppable triple threat reborn with Joe, Daniels, and Styles. It's Ospreay versus Ricochet versus Takeshita. Don't get me wrong. This could be the best wrestling match tonight. I still have my money on Moxley and Bryan. I think they're going to do some really good emotional storytelling, but people should calm down. But I do think this is going to be a banger, and I can't wait just to let Takeshita off the leash and just let him go, man. Like that match a couple months ago that he had with Darby, like especially because these guys are a bit smaller.
That's another thing with like the weird, not long term. Like they were clearly building Takeshita versus Okada, and him like turning face against like the Don Callis family, and then no, he just turned heel and now he wants Ospreay.
Not yet.
Yeah.
My hope is that was just a tease for like long term, but again, if they're not going to do that, who knows? But no, I think Will wins this. I don't know. Because I even thought Ricochet maybe was going to beat him on Dynamite. Didn't happen, but I wouldn't mind if Will lost this because he can win it back, or I guess he did just win it back. I don't know. I guess he'll win it, but I'm excited to see Takeshita with these two. I actually think these three are going to put on I think it's going to be worth it. This makes it worth the price of admission. I do have high hopes, but again, I don't think it's going to be the X Division three-way. Like it could be, but don't go in thinking that, so.
Yeah. No, I think they're going to put on a great match. Takeshita, while he can do a lot of the high-risk moves and acrobatics, he has been wrestling more of a heavyweight style with just the fluidity of it. So I think that would be good to bridge the gap, him, Ospreay, and Ricochet, because Ricochet does not wrestle a heavyweight style at all. Like he's good going against the heavyweights, but he just doesn't. Ospreay can do both. He showed when he bulked up and came out of the junior division over in Japan that he can do both styles. When he stopped doing less flips, and that's when he brought out the hidden blade and brought out other aspects of his game so that he had a more heavyweight style. He can definitely do it. So I think that they're going to put on a stellar match. I don't know if I see Ospreay losing the belt just yet.
Because he did just get back in August, right? So
yeah, and I also don't see Ricochet losing just yet. So I'm wondering if it's a triple threat to have
triple
Takeshita
pin and restart the match,
or either that or Takeshita takes the pin after him and Don Callis trying to do something to sway the match in their favor, and it backfires.
God damn it. I'm pushing Takeshita right now in GM mode. Him and Finn Balor having some bangers for me. It's like, and I was just like, man, I want to see that. Like Takeshita, and now I have him planning to go with Gunther next in GM mode. I'm like, I love Takeshita, man. He's just that in ring stuff. But yeah, Sbubbs, you think Will's losing this or no? He's keeping it.
I think he's keeping it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I think if he takes the pin, I think this could build, distrust with the Don Callis family.
Yeah. And then for some reason, I guess on a Collision, Brody King accepted Darby Allin's challenge. Here's my thing. They'll have a good match. They've had good matches before because Brody King's a fucking beast and Darby can get ragdolled around. I don't know why they build this as an open challenge then, because then you get 2 weeks of is it? Who could it be?
Yeah.
And then,
I don't know if they actually announce it?
Yep.
Because, okay.
Tonight, yeah. That's why, because
official.
I saw it on Wikipedia, and I was like, okay, that's weird. And then 41 minutes ago, next Saturday at Tacoma, Washington. So, yeah, he answered the challenge.
Okay, yeah. No, because I'd seen, like, when they were taping Collision, it was just, like, I think, like, Brody showed up when, like, after Darby had a match. So I guess on the actual show, I assume it was that, and then they put the graphic up that he's answering the challenge, I guess.
Yeah, no, they put out the actual tweet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna theorize who it could be, but okay, yeah, I guess it's just Brody then.
Just Brody. It's just to give Darby a win, and he'll be back on track. But again, they'll have a good salt match. Brody's really good. Darby's good, so that'll be good. And then I imagine that Swerve, I don't think is wrestling, but I guess Fightful, we can transition talking about free agency stuff quickly. That Fightful did announce that Bobby Lashley signed, Shelton Benjamin signed. Obviously, since we've done this podcast, MVP signed there. So they're definitely doing the Hurt business or syndicate business. I don't know what it's going to be called, but it's, some sort of thing on that, play on that. I was not watching WWE full time when they did that. I know people really liked them. I'm somebody that sounds mean. I'd have to see what TK is paying Bobby Lashley because I just don't know if he's worth the money. I think Bobby's really good in the ring and he can have some fun matches, but if he's getting a big amount, I just don't think going back to the Roman Punk conversation, I don't think he moves the needle at all for like AEW. I don't think he does anything. And again, my worry is it feels very much like TNA. And there's that chart that came out last week where you saw in the last 2 years, WWE talent's ages are down and AEW's talent's ages are going up. Now, not trying to do ageism because there's tons of people out there that can add to the company, right? I would not say, oh yeah, get rid of Adam Copeland. No, absolutely. Keep him. I need Bobby Lashley. But for me, it's like I just wonder what he's getting paid because TK throws up big money, and I think Bobby's like best days are behind him. Like I'm not intrigued. I guess it's the Hurt Business or Syndicate. Sure, I like MVP and Swerve and Bobby. Could be some stuff, but I saw a lot of people be like, "Oh my god, they got Bobby." For me, that's not like a "Oh my god." Like if they get Kevin Owens, that's like a "Oh my god, fuck, that's good." If they get AJ, which I don't know why people think they're getting AJ. People are gonna stop tweeting that. Like I don't think that AJ's gonna be a fucking WWE lifer. He's gonna be a coach.
I was say something funny was like I forget. It was with Shelton Benjamin, I think, and it was a tweet like AEW just signed a beast, and it was like this highlight package
from like 2003 and
5. One of the comments was like Javon Evans and Roxanne Perez were 0 years old.
I saw they were learning to walk when this happened. Yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah. So again, like even Shelton, who I love, but it's just like it's tough because that roster's already bloated, and I already feel there's enough people on that roster that are really good that don't get enough time. So for me, I don't know. It's TK's money and everything like that. He can do what he does. And maybe there's stuff, even if it's like short-term stuff, if I did be down for that, if they did, hey, we've signed this guy to like a 6-month deal, and they come in, then maybe we'll do more. But so I don't know. I guess it's a good feud for Swerve for a little bit until they do him and Hangman, which I know we didn't talk about All Out. I love that match. Hangman is my favorite like character in wrestling right now because he's just a fucking madman. Like he's just saying his facials. Like I saw someone say, and I'm mad at what can never happen. Like, could you imagine Cody Rhodes right now where he is, and then a feud with Hangman where he is right now? I'm like, holy fuck! Like the cinema these two could create. Like Hangman, he's like leveled up, and anytime he's on my screen, I am engaged. I love that character. So, but until they get back to him and Swerve, sure, have Swerve and Bobby. But yeah, what do you guys feel about the Hurt Business Syndicate, whatever it's called?
Actually, little side there. Did you see the lumberjack strap match?
No, I haven't yet. It is on my DVR. Or
like, do you know what it actually was? Right. It wasn't like it was called the lumberjack strap match, but it's a very, very specific play on the words there. They were not tied together in this match.
No, they're not tied together in lumberjack, right?
No, in a strap match.
Did they have a strap match?
It was a lumberjack strap match. Was the name of this match, but they were not tied together. In fact, it was a lot of lumberjacks around the outside, strapping them, dressed as lumberjacks with straps. If they approached the outside, they would strap them.
Right. I haven't watched the match, but did you watch the match? You've been waiting for Hangman and Jeff Jarrett.
I didn't see it, but people hated this match. Apparently, they were like, Jeff ruining Page's credibility. He just had this hate feud, and now he's having this dumb match with Jeff Jarrett.
And it's weird because they were kind of building Jeff to be like a badass again. So I thought they'd just have like another street fight, like him and Swerve, and like a last hurrah for Jeff Jarrett to go toe to toe, maybe some bleeding, but no. And then now they're leading into him and Jay, which I'll say this because we're moving away, but TK, this is chance number 2. Jay came out. He got a fucking still mega pop. People love this guy. They want to see Jay White be a star. Don't fuck it up again. No more Billy Gunn matches. No more losing to one leg MJF. Like
he's getting the low blow and the punch.
I saw your tweet. I don't want to see him get no. And that's where it's the same thing. That's tough putting these two together right now. I don't think I agree with they both kind of need a win, but there's a good chance that Jay could have came out, Jay White, and got no pop because of how he had been booked. This is your time, TK. He needs to be a top guy. Like, he can't even be a top guy. I don't know if I like him as a babyface either, as a top guy role, but I digress.
No, he's a good heel. Circling back to your Bobby Lashley thing, I was a fan of the Hurt Business. I watched it consistently during that. I have a group chat with a couple of my buddies who I watch wrestling with, like in person, and it's called The Hurt Business. Still to this day is the name of that
fucking
group
name.
chat.
Yeah.
So, like, I was in on it. I do not feel like Bobby Lashley fits AEW.
No.
I don't feel he is a slow powerhouse of a wrestler, and I don't think he really fits AEW. I don't know where they're going with the Hurt Syndicate or whatever they're going to be called and how they play in with Swerve. If you are going to bring Bobby Lashley in, again, he's slower. He doesn't fit the style. I don't think he should be the leader. If you want to bring them in and put them with Swerve, then okay, but I don't see, again, Bobby Lashley just playing the heater of the group, just the big tough guy. So I'm not quite sure where you go with this, and I'm hoping that they did not pay this man main event money just to lumber around for a couple of weeks, and then we have another person who comes out and says AEW is not what I thought it was going to be, blah blah blah, because you got this fat contract thinking you were going to be a superstar when not everyone can be a superstar.
I think Bobby won't. I think he'll just be happy with that money. Like, I think Bobby will be like a semi-part-time guy, and he'll just be like, yeah, just because even with when he left WWE recently, like everyone was like, Triple H fucking hates Bobby Lashley, and Bobby, like, oh no, like I enjoy my time there, I like the people. Like, he's very, I think he's one that's just like he'll be happy to get that check and do whatever TK says. I'm with Sbubbs, where I think he got that money, and hey, good for him. Good for anybody.
I don't think TK signs people to short-term deals.
No, it's usually like 3 minimum.
Especially with that when Miro news that he apparently signed like an 8-year deal or whatever.
2026 it is. Like, it's like,
I think so.
Like, what are you do? That's as we're talking about free agency. It's like the Ricky Starks thing. It's like I really don't understand how some of the, and this is literally me saying, not making fun of TK, because I don't have independent contractors. It's like you have some guy signed, and like you can't get him to come to work, and if he says no, and I guess the worry is you release him and he goes back to WWE, but like, is it worth spending your own money just have him sit around and like? I don't know, man. Like I said, there must be some different stuff there because it happens with AEW. There's times where, listen to Moxley talk. He was contracted with WWE. He hated his last 6 months, but he had to do it. So he's like, I'm going to do it. When they did the last Shield match, they paid him like a house show. Like, his last rate was $500. They did that just like as an FU to him. Like, here's your worker's rate, $500. He's like, all right, screw you guys. But it's like, he still was like, okay, they want me to do it, and I'm there. I'm a contract employee. I don't get how Ricky's not there. I don't get how some of these people, and if it's just, hey, we don't want you there because we don't know if you're re-signing, then just fucking let him go. Let him go. That's like, Rick, I'm sorry, Ricky Starks, or especially Miro now, they're not gonna move the needle. And you know what's so funny? The guy you should have had sitting at home paying him was probably fucking CM Punk, and you didn't. You released him, and he had this big moment, and I'm fine, because let him go, let him be happy, let him be on our screens. But like, that's the guy who can fucking move the needle and take money away from you and hurt your Chicago market, not Miro or Daniel Garcia. Like I'm not saying they can't do good big things, but on that initial, okay, you get a pop, some good Twitter views, but it's not like, what's Miro going to do if you let him go? You're just wasting your money right now. Yeah, I don't know.
Miro's not that guy. Some of these other people that they talk about leaving are only going to wind up on NXT. Again, nothing against NXT, but that's where they're headed. So you're spending a whole lot of money.
That's their direct competition there.
Yeah. You're spending a whole lot of money to keep these people on and not use them, when you might as well just stop paying them, let them go, ride out that 90-day non-compete, and then let them go wherever they're going to go.
And it sucks because Miro, that first year he was with AEW, was that, I think, some of the best work of his career. Speaking of Darby, when him and Darby had that TNT title match, one of my favorite AEW matches. It was
the Redeemer was just amazing.
He was so good. He's doing like these religious ranting. He's talking about
God's favorite. Yeah,
and then he would just come in there, and he was like a mini Lesnar, and like they had something cooking with him, and I was like, oh, he's gonna be a AEW champ in the next couple of years. And then I don't know what ever happened there, and then just went away. I know there's the rumors he doesn't want to lose to people, which I always think is like the dumbest thing in pro wrestling. Like I get it if Tony's like, hey, my storyline for you is like you're gonna like lose for a year solid, then I'd say, hey Tony, like this doesn't make sense. But it's like, Like, look at fucking Brian. This man's lost like majority of his matches this year. Doesn't matter. Obviously, he has an established fan base, but still, it's like you lose the right way, you're fine. So yeah, the Redeemer, it sucks because I thought that was going to be an AEW top act for many years, and we only got that 1 year of it, and it was great. But yeah, and then we got KO, whose contract's not signed. Obviously, attacked Cody, but I've said before, I don't think he's going anywhere. Even if AEW is going to throw him this big money, I think that he's a lifer.
Right? I saw an AEW conspiracy theory, not about KO, but about AJ Styles. That was they're purposely doing this washed gimmick to lower his stock when he leaves for AEW, so people think he's bad.
I saw that too, and it's like I think that's just the story. People want him back on TV. It's interesting because it was that thing when he came on SmackDown. Even my kids were like, "Oh, like he seems happy." Like they weren't saying he's babyface, but in their child's mind, they could process like he was clearly acting like a babyface. And I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess he's apologizing and he wants to be new, man." Like I'm trying to explain to 5 and 7 year olds like. Yeah, he's this is his way of turning babyface. I never use the terms in front of them, but like, yeah, I'm fine with this. Like, it fits already because they were kind of already doing a washed storyline, right? Of like, I need to win the world. Like, this fits with what they were doing.
Yeah, that was the story. Yeah. I forget. He mentioned it in a promo. I'm trying to remember exactly what he said, but it was like repeating like something that people were saying around that time about him. I forget what it was.
Yeah, because there were that he was watching. They had the match with Cody, and everyone was like, I apologize. It's not.
You
true.
got a 5-star from Meltzer.
Yeah, and no, AJ can still go, and the AJ to me, yeah, same thing. I don't go. Don't get me wrong. It's not like Bobby Lashley. Tomorrow, if we found out, hey, Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes on Friday SmackDown, they're having a loser leaves, town, and KO. Both KO and AJ could fit into AEW. Their styles are that way. I do think their storyline-wise, after Kevin does this, I've said this before, I don't know what else there is for Kevin to do. He's done everything. I don't think he'll ever be a top guy. I don't think he'll ever get a world title, like a world title again or a WWE championship again. And same thing with AJ. It's like, I know people want him to have that one last run, but I don't think that I foresee him winning a world title either. So I think there's tons of upside them going to AEW, and they fit with also storylines with Bucks and Kenny and the Elite and all these people. So like if they were to go, I'm like Bobby, like, oh, this is great. I could see tons of stuff with these guys, but I don't think either of them are going. I think Kevin's a lifer, and I feel like AJ also is kind of a lifer, like maybe like coach in the future. Like I mean,
that's the whole thing with Motor City Machine Guns. Like, that's the rumor they signed is for. There's even a video from like 2019 WWE. They had I think Alex Shelley as like a guest host or a guest coach at the PC for a bit. So
yeah,
and they played. That's another thing during Bad Blood. They played another vignette there teasing Motor City Machine Guns.
Mm-hmm. I don't see KO ever jump into AEW for 2 reasons. One, his friendship with the Bucks, I think, will keep him from AEW, and I think his friendship with Sammy will keep him in WWE. Kevin Owens doesn't seem like the type who would want to go and work for his friends. I think he enjoys that friendship too much to mix the business of working for them. Now, if they weren't EVPs and if it was just I'm going to go work with my friends, I think he would do it in a heartbeat due to that association, due to how close they are as friends. I don't think he would want to work under his friends. Right now, he's got a good thing going with WWE. Triple H obviously values him. He's not doing a lot of the stuff that he was doing under Vince. I think that I don't think he's going to be a substantial world champion again. I could see him winning like the world heavyweight title and being a transitional champion with that.
Like a month run. I could see that. Yeah,
I could see him also winning one of the mid-card belts and going on a nice little, you're not going Gunther with it, but having a nice little...
the record. KO beats Gunther. Yeah,
run with it, getting back to, the prize fighter and having an open challenge for that belt for a while, like until they have somebody that they're building up that they need to take that belt off of him. But in that, I don't see him going. AJ could go either way, but I do see him just saying when he's done. He's going to go be a coach, and then he's going to spend time with his family because I think that he'd rather be the family man and not be somebody's executive somewhere. So if he could get something down at the performance center, then I think he would do that. Now, if they're really talking about moving everything out to Vegas, then most likely not, because he's a good old boy from the South. He ain't leaving the South. He ain't going to Vegas like that. But yeah, I don't see either of them making that jump.
I will appreciate, because AJ's back, I'm very fond of all the gay community memes that they have produced at AJ. If people don't know, there's like a clip of him back in the TNA era, and he's on a radio show, and the host's like, oh, and what do you feel about your big fall in the gay community? And AJ's like, the gay community.
I've seen the full clip, because I always wondered what happened next, and it was like a caller on a radio show who said that. So there wasn't anything next. Like they just hung up.
Yeah, they just moved on.
Caller,
yeah. And I saw like the gay community Bullet Club. I saw like it was like the gay community, and then went to like a fan cam. It's like, oh my god, yeah. Yeah, no, because Dave is right. He's a good old boy, and he's not leaving there. And but yeah, like Sbubbs brought up, Motor City Machine Guns, they're fully signed now. Looks like they're going to the main roster. It was never planned, according to some people. But yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting. We talked about in the Discord about the tag title ladder match, which I thought was solid last night. But I think they probably will be the ones to take it off of I would imagine, even if it's like a shorter run. I guess the idea, someone might say like, oh well, the older talent being the newer ones, but no, I think both Raw and SmackDown, even though last night it was a good match, I still think they really need some juicy tag divisions, and I know Triple H can do it. He did it in NXT. He was like fucking tag matches main evented their shows. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, but I'd like to get it to a point where you could make the argument for that, other than like Bloodline stuff, right? So and they're good hires. They're just like, they're going to put on a good match with anybody. And maybe they link up with their TNA brethren. I don't know. Maybe you get like a TNA Wins Again faction. You get all them taking over. Who knows?
The new Good Brothers.
Yeah, the new Good Brothers, the Main Event Mafia, Reborn or whatnot. But is there any free agency news that I'm missing right now?
The whole Lucha Bros thing.
Oh, right. What a mess that was, right? Yeah, there was a report that they were going there, but then the report was, what's his name? Penta, his contract's going to be up soon, but his brother's not. And I guess it just seems like the theory is that they were going to get to go a lot earlier. Penta maybe.
Yeah, the rumor is that Penta was going around backstage saying he's working Cody for the belt as soon as he gets to WWE.
And I think, Penta and that's where it shows, like, at the end of the day, you got to keep your cards close to your chest.
But then there's also people, like, that was one of the, but then there's also, like, lower stuff from people who say, like, I know Penta and he's never been one to say something like that, so who knows? It's always up to you're never gonna know exactly this backstage
exactly
stuff,
right,
unless they show the footage.
Yeah, maybe
Penta has said he is open to staying in AEW. He said right now that is where he signed, and that is where he's going to give his effort. He's told other people that he's open to staying.
AEW.
Yeah, now
again,
gonna
be you at the couch because Tony's not gonna book you guys at all now.
But if you look at Ray Phoenix's Instagram or any of his social medias for like the last couple of months, he's been posting goodbyes. And
literally like I think it was like the last day of last month, like when his contract presumably was gonna end, he posted like a whole slideshow with a bunch of images from AEW, and he's like, "Thank you for everything. Like, I loved wrestling here." Like, that was like, he thought like, well, and that's what the report said. Like he thought he was done with AEW until
he tried to clean it up and say it was just a love letter to wrestling as a whole. But I mean,
stay off social media when your contracts are up in the air, please.
Until you get that confirmation from your lawyer, bruh, it's not over. And they were like, "Oh, you think you're going somewhere? Yeah. How long has he been injured? Go ahead, tack on that time."
I don't think if Triple H signs you, and then let's say before you even debut on TV, if you post something about AEW, like your farewell, I don't think he's gonna be like, well, you know what? Fuck these guys. Let's not push them. Like, I think especially Triple H understands like the ability of like working in place and falling in love with it, right? And just even thanking them for the memories. I don't think that like fucking Cody and Jamie should that, but Cody still in interviews always says he'll not say my former company. He still just says AEW, right? The fucking Vince documentary, I know they didn't make it, which we're going to talk about, mentions AEW. Like, it's like they mentioned TNA a couple nights ago. I know they're working with them, but it's like I feel like the whole, like, the old school of, like, ignore everybody, pretend we're just the only wrestling company.
Yeah, Michael Cole mentioned the TNA, the original NWA, TNA, and Noah.
Yeah,
and that Chelsea Green and Meechin were former Impact Women's champions.
Buddy Matthews got a shout out tonight.
He did, a big muscle guy from Australia. Yeah, and that's the thing where it's just like, as we've seen, like if WWE mentions AEW or Ray Phoenix were in WWE and he posts the Instagram thing, that's not gonna be like, fuck, he was in AEW, I'm gonna go watch AEW. Like, the only thing that sways it is fucking, as we've seen, is good creative for the most part. There could be some hotshot stuff, but it's like, so that's the idea of like, why would you be posting this shit if you don't know 100% you're gone? And that's where it's just like, don't say that stuff. But I think, like everyone said, in WWE, they're going to have great merch, and I'm interested to see what they can do. I hope they just don't get lumped in with the Santos Escobar group and LWO, because that can happen, because, like, Wild, and who's the other guy? I don't even remember the other guy's name that's in LWO.
Cruz Del Toro.
Cruz, they're just fucking doing nothing. They're there
I
to,
saw
like,
a crazy thing about, I think it's Joaquin Wild, because he's 38. You know that?
Oh my god!
But I saw it was he's been wrestling for so long that he created the ROH logo when he was like 18 or something like that.
Yeah, Zema Ion, he's been all over. Like, he had huge history with the X Division and TNA and things like that. So yeah, he's been around.
Yeah, but now he just is like a supporting character of Rey Mysterio, right? Yeah, and that's where, for me,
he does his big slingshot jump move.
Of course, they bust out when he's in a match, and it is cool. But like, and that's the thing with the Lucha Bros. It's like, yeah, you could go there, it could end up great, but you could also, those like 40-minute steel cage classics you have with the Bucks, those are over. So it's like, it all depends on your perspective, right? If they want to sit there and get the money, and then maybe it works out. Maybe they become a hot tag team, but it's just like, you don't know, right? And that's where they're someone I worry. The same way like Vikingo, like that's a guy where I go, that's not a WWE guy. When I heard Conan say that, I went, no, like Daniel Garcia, Ricky Starks, like with Garcia or even Hook, those two examples, I say, I can see them work both companies, like if they stay or go. Vikingo, no, I go, no, that's not a WWE guy. I think he'll just become a flippy guy that they bust out for the Rumble or this and that, or he'll be around. But there's certain acts I do think, and Lucha Bros, I think can work in WWE, but I still think they lean more AEW-ish, and that's where I'm curious to see what happens.
On that Conan Dave stream, they were saying that they thought that the Lucha Bros and WWE would both be better as singles.
Interesting. There's an argument to that. They could have more success that way. I think it depends how they bring them in. Definitely different brands, though, for sure. Like, you'd have to do that. So
yeah,
I mean, they're both former world champions, so it's not unseen. But I don't know if at this point in their career, how plausible it would be for them to be world champions.
No.
Mid card, maybe. Speed champion, definitely.
That's Vikingo's future. The speed champion.
Oh, with the way that he flips and stuff like that.
It was Vikingo with the speed title. He said he'd still win a world title before Takeshita does in AEW.
Okay. Anything else free agency wise? I think we've hit them all.
I guess that's it. No Daniel Garcia updates really. Just kind of the same thing every week.
Changes every week, right? It's like always just
like It's like they want him, or like sources say. It's not sources say that he's re-signed. It's like sources say that they hear people think he's gonna re-sign.
Yeah. And who knows? Either way, I hope it works out for him. Like I said, that's a guy I can see in both brands. I personally want him to stay in AEW because there's still some matches I want him to have that he hasn't done. Like, he hasn't had that main event run in AEW.
Last week when Yuta came out to save Brian, I thought that was Daniel Garcia. Like, because I think he came out in like a hoodie. I thought that was him.
Yeah, that would have been good. But well, quickly, Sbubbs, did you have time to do any draft points, or are we saving that for next time?
I did do it, since there wasn't really, I guess there weren't that many, or it wasn't that complicated to do them, because a lot of them are just lost, so there's a lot of ones.
Okay, so yeah, hit us with some draft points, and then we'll do just a very quick, because it's getting late here. We'll do just a quick thoughts on the Vince doc, and then we'll end it all here. So.
Yeah, I'm here already on week 27, so I'm on my second page, so I don't have to be all zoomed out and stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, I guess I'll start with me. For normal points, I'm at 323, with 295 bonus points.
Cody Rhodes, man.
For Travis, you are at 373 normal points with 160 bonus points.
Climbing up.
And then David is at 258 normal points with 185 bonus points.
Okay.
And yeah, we're getting, I guess the next draft change up is before Survivor Series.
Right, okay. So we'll have
crowd
and then
I guess that'll happen,
yeah. Okay, so we've got some time.
I kind of already know. I'm writing like my list of like people I kind of want, or people, if people drop, because there's some, like, every time I look at to do points, I'm like, I always swear there's two people particular that, like, I'm always looking, like, I always check us three for who has this person, because they're always showing up, and then I'm like, oh, someone dropped them, or actually no one drafted this person, so I'm like, they're definitely top of my list. It's one person that's like, it's crazy that this person was dropped, looking back at it, but I won't say who.
Oh no. There we go. We'll see what happens. Survivor Series, we'll do an update. Are we doing? Is that before? It's before Survivor Series,
right? Before, yeah.
Yeah, because War Games. Okay, so we'll do that. So, I want to start with Sbubbs on this one. You've watched the whole doc, I assume?
I didn't finish watching the
Okay, so what
thing.
were your thoughts so far?
I think I watched up to, I'm not sure if it was 3 or 4, because I watched a few in a row, just like play next episode. So I don't remember exactly which one I ended on. I didn't watch the whole thing, so I assume it didn't get to the end. But I thought it was interesting. It was like you guys said, like, for you guys, I'm sure you knew like all of it. But for me, it was like a lot of stuff that I'd like heard about, or like I knew the names of like what happened or who was involved, but I didn't really know the extent of it. So for me, it was still interesting in that way. But then, yeah, it was definitely some stuff. It's like, I've definitely heard this before. I don't really need to hear it again. Like the WrestleMania attendance, or like
or
the Monday Night Wars. Yeah,
the Monday Night Wars.
The territories I didn't know that much about, so that did help me. But yeah, like Monday Night Wars, like Lex Luger working the house show the night before Nitro. What else? But yeah, definitely get some stuff like in each episode that's like covered already, or like the screw job. That was like a whole episode. Though I did think with the screw job was interesting how they tied in the other, like the one with the woman earlier on.
Wendy Richter, yeah.
Yeah. That was something I didn't really know that much about.
Yeah, that was like a good pacing for that, like a full circle where you start with that and then you end with the Brett thing, because if them trying to make Vince look like a shitty guy, it's like, oh well, he keeps doing this to people, right? So it's like, even though it was only like twice, I'm not saying it wasn't shitty, because like the screw job is there's things I agree with Vince, because I think Brett was being very hard to deal with, but at the same time, like, he just fucking hates Shawn Michaels, so I understand like his what would it be called, like his hubris, or just his pride, right? He just wanted this guy fucking like he's like the devil in my life, and you want me to put him on, like, you, and the same thing, Vince also could have chose anybody else. Vince could
not only who he wanted to put him on, but where he, like, you want me to put over this guy in Canada, like, because I've heard Brett say in other interviews, he's like, I would have done it somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have happily done it somewhere else. I asked him not to do it here, and he came back and said, no, we think we're going to do it.
I would love the Pixar creators to make like an Inside Out movie, but it's like of Brett in '97, like what his mind was going through, and those, like, everything happening. But no, that's good. So Dave, what about you? How did you feel about the doc?
I have a lot of feelings about the doc. First, I will say this. I love both these gentlemen, but I lost some respect for both Cena and Mick Foley after watching their interviews.
Oh.
I get that he helped make you famous, but goddamn, your inability to admit that he is a bad person kind of rubbed me the wrong way. If anyone follows me on Twitter, you already know how I feel about Hulk Hogan. That has not changed in the wake of this documentary.
Fuck Hulk Hogan,
He
man.
is a racist and a horrible person, and I don't believe for one fucking second that half the shit that he was trying to make himself out to be, like, oh, like you lied to the federal government about what you were going to say on stand only so you could surprise him on the day of and shoot and tell them that, you know, Vince had nothing to do with it because you saved this. He's like, get out of here, you pompous, arrogant asshole. Like, I did in the episode about the screw job, though, I swear I thought Brett's wife was going to knock out Triple H, and I was like,
that the first time you'd seen that clip before?
That's the first time I've seen like a bit of that clip. Mm-hmm. I have never seen it where they linger on.
Yeah, it's her in the saying that Shadows doc from like 98 or whatever.
His reaction and kept lingering back on it, and my single worst, the part that sticks out to me the most about Vince just being one of the worst human beings in the world was his line about Reveiw when he says that the relationship was consensual, that he isn't a rapist, but if he did rape her, the statute of limitations was up on that anyway. I was sitting there dumbfounded, like, you fucking can't, you let that come out of your mouth that I didn't rape her, but had I, statutes of limitations are up anyway. So I don't know why this is a big deal to you guys. Like, you ruined somebody's life.
The whole reason he stepped down the first time, right? Because they did like the
no, it wasn't the Reveiw. The Reveiw,
but I mean, it wasn't that, but like the statute of limitation. That's why he did the payouts.
Yes,
wasn't it?
Yeah, he did payouts instead of other stuff going on, and that's for me with the dog. It's funny, like at times it plays like a Borat movie because the stuff they got him to say, like before he left. It's almost comedic of when they talked about that. There's that interview. He's like, "Oh, I have three minds. One's like a work mind. One's a personal mind." They go, "What's that third mind?" Like, it wants to do computers. Like, "Oh, it wants to do something inappropriate and some with sex." And it's just like it literally feels like an SNL skit of like this man, like how like it's just they got some good like clips and one-liners from.
They did say on a lot of those. What happened was they would ask him some questions and he would give like the pre-programmed answers and things like that. And then they would just let the camera roll and not ask a follow-up.
Yeah.
And after a while, he would be compelled to just keep talking because he didn't know what to do with the silence. And then that's when he would say the dumb thing. So there were so many times where it's just like, oh, this is, no, you're a bad person. I did, man, Paul Heyman's story about Shane and Vince with the knife, and he's like, you're gonna have to, and if you don't, then I know you don't have it in you. I'm like, God damn. Like, I knew Shane had some issues with Vince, and that's why he left. I knew he wanted to go make a name for himself. He went over to China, did really great in business. Like, I knew all of this stuff. I did not know just how much Vince was like, I am not going to show you what it's like to have a father, because I didn't have a father, so I didn't have it. Fuck you, you're not getting it.
Yeah, if anyone out there, your dad has a knife and he's telling you to be a man, you gotta stab him. That's not the regular relationship you're supposed to have with your parents. And yeah, it's so funny because you could tell the ending of that doc was like Shane centric because it's all about him coming back, and then they find a way to hug and everything. But like then episode 6 happens where it's like, oh, and then all these lawsuits. But it's like they're definitely trying to dovetail it with Shane, which is like hey, it's a good enough story and everything like that. But yeah, it's been interesting to see the reaction. I even overheard people at the gym the other day talking about it, and that's where for me it's completely, because it's like you, I suppose, but there's people like even less than you that are into wrestling, that everyone that's like general audience or have never watched wrestling have just like said really great things about it. And that's where I just go, and even the Netflix guy did say like, oh, we made it for people that are gonna never have seen this versus the people that have watched it their whole lives. And from that perspective, I think overall it's like a very well made doc. So from me as a wrestling fan, didn't learn too much more from it. I think there's some things that I wish they focused more on, and that's where it's like my critiques as far as just like watching it, even as like if you weren't a wrestling fan. And I guess it's tough, right? Like there's stuff where it's like, for me, there's one segment where it's like, oh, we're gonna explain to you why we did The Rock and Hulk Hogan WrestleMania. It's like, what's this got to do with Vince? Like, this is like, why is this 10 minutes of like them talking about like this iconic matchup? Like, I think too, it's, if I would have been pitched of like, hey, this is a WWE documentary done by Netflix, but we got lots of interviews with Vince, my mind would have been different. But because it was pitched as the Vince doc, like even like that whole segment about, I get why they got to explain who Hulk Hogan was, but I felt like it was too long of explaining like who he is. He was an AWA and he's wrestled Andre before. It's like, I don't need all this. And then my other critique, as far as like if I was just watching it like as a non-wrestling fan, I just wish they asked, and it's tough because we talked about this on After 9, I suppose, brought up where the guys said that like they've interviewed him and times they couldn't use the clips because his voice was sound like a frog and he wouldn't cooperate and stuff. So it is tough, but there's just times where I wish they pushed him a bit more on some personal stuff, because I just feel like they're like, you know, what did it feel like WrestleMania? And they're like, well, if it didn't work, we were broke. And then it's like, cut. It's like, well, what was the actual, like, what was the feel? Like, what did you feel at the end of, I would have asked, like, at the end of that night, whenever everyone was gone, blah, 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 every wrestler was home, what did you feel at the end of that night? You're just alone, like stuff like that. Or even the nights with Eddie or Benoit, like, I know he's like, oh, Chris went nuts and that's life. And it's like, what? No, what? Where were you when you got that call? What was your feeling? You clearly had a relationship with this guy, especially Eddie too. It's like there's so many clips of them hugging and being close. It's like, what did you feel when you? So I thought there's ways they could have made him feel personal and not be like in a gotcha, not in like a, you know, what did you feel when this person accused you for sexual assault? No, just like life stuff of, yeah, what did it feel like? What would have been your plan if WrestleMania? Like, I think there's just certain things where not even gotcha stuff I would have hit on him, because I feel like he would have been able to answer that stuff, because it's not like, oh, I'm not in trouble. But then they got him, talking about Reader Chattertons or other stuff like the computer, and like you said, it's Vince just like talking. But overall, like I think it's a well-made doc. I think it's one of those two where episode 6 is tough because like the trial hasn't happened, so it ends on like a weird like, this stuff's going on, and that's the end of the doc. It feels very much like a to be continued, and maybe they will make more, but it's tough because like WWE is going to business with them soon. So I just doubt they're gonna want to do that again, like a Vince Part 2, how they did with like Tiger King and everything. So overall, I think it is a well-made doc. It's not like the be-all end-all like I was hoping it was gonna be, but it was still a good time. So
yeah. Now there is the report that Vince is trying to buy back his rights to make his own counter document, and how unfair the document was. And I'm like, you're the same guy who made the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. Like, yeah, I don't need you talking about unfair documentaries and all this other stuff. Like, we've seen how you have restructured certain things in order to fit your narrative. But now, I agree with you on getting more personal. Like, they mentioned how towards the end of the show that they were doing the Chris Benoit tribute is when they started to find out more and more about what happened with Chris Benoit. I would have loved for someone to ask him, what pivot did you have to make in that moment? Like, how were you feeling as you were doing this show and you start to find this out? Like, get that detail, because you hear all these stories about how they're constantly writing and rewriting the show up until it starts. I would love to know, what pivot did you have time to process what happened with this wrestler of yours, or did you immediately have to go into damage control? Here's what we're doing, blah blah blah. Because especially as robotic as he sounded about Owens' death and how,
that was really bad stuff.
People paid to see a show, so I had to give him a show, and all. I was like, God.
Even if he believes that, that's a time where you should just bite the bullet, be like, yeah, we should have stopped the show. And like it's just like they just, I felt like they gave him so many chances to like Yeah, but you would have now retrospectively would have stopped the show like, well, no, well, what if it was your son? Well, that's different. Well, it wasn't my son. It's like, okay, what if it was you? Well, I'd want them to take the show. Like they felt like they gave him 4 softballs of just like, say you regret it. It's like say you wouldn't have done the show because like when they show those clips and the people are wrestling and Owens' blood's right there, it's like fuck this. Like and they're showing Jared. It's just like this sucks, man. Like this is really bad. Like again, it's just. But I feel like sometimes they did try to help him out, but he just, it's the way Vince is. So, but I hope the counter doc don't do it. Just sit at home, try not to go to prison, and enjoy your billions of dollars.
Yeah, like enjoy it while you have it before all the civil suits start rolling through and you lose all your money. But right now, spend it, live it up, because I mean it is over for you. There is no saving your name, my guy. There is no saving your name. You're up here, like you're at the upper echelon of very bad business people. Like you're not Epstein Diddy level, but you're working your way up there as more stuff gets revealed. I would sit at home and be quiet.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost going on 3 hours, longer than I even thought it was going to be, but that happens, tangents and everything. So yeah, we will be back for not the Saudi show because I looked. That's November 2nd. That's extra light. That's a charity stream, so I won't be making another GeekVerse. People be like, hey, I gotta watch Crown. I gotta see who's the Crown Jewel champion. Sorry, kids, but so yeah, maybe like the weekend after that or the week or two after that because we kind of find that in between because we can do predictions for Survivor Series, but then also like the draft and everything.
When is the Full Gear? It's in November.
That's November something because Survivor Series is at the end of November, right?
Yeah.
Full Gear. It'd be great if that could line up so we could hit them both. Maybe that's
November 23rd.
And when Survivor? That's the week after, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, maybe we'll wait. Yeah,
so the week before Full, so that's probably like the second week of November around there.
Yeah, I think so, because then we can do predictions for them both and kind of talk, and we can talk about Crown Jewel. I don't think anything's going to be big from that show. Like, we'll talk about, like, of course, like a great match, hopefully with Cody and Gunther, but like Gunther being Crown Jewel champion, it's not going to like be, oh man, we got.
Yeah, and I guess that would be after NXT Halloween Havoc somewhere.
It will be,
there,
yeah.
So.
And Brian should be retired by that point. So yeah, look for that. Look for probably second week in November. We'll be doing that and we'll be updating. So yeah, thank you gentlemen for joining me here. This was a fun one. Let's hopefully got some good bloodline stuff to talk about next time we're back. See what's going on with the final boss. See what other fake belts he's gonna win. He's gonna want that Crown Jewel belt too. He's gonna be like, just put me in there with Cody.
He's gonna be walking around like Ultimo Dragon with all the belts.
All made ones too by him, and so. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this. We'll be back next month, and it will not be boring.
Bye.